to the Zoom Test Kitchen where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air, testing tech to thrive. From screen share breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks. We'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes, we test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with ease. So if your meetings lag, or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We've got your back, no wreck. We've got your back, no wreck. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Happy Independence for Canada and America and the world. That's all I got. Hi, everyone. Good to see you. I just want to say, I used to think that the Zoom Test Kitchen was special, that we held, that we offered a unique service to the Zoomies of the world. And then I went on YouTube to Boom with Lord Zoom. And we got the Power Hour, the phone show, holy mackerel. If you're a Zoomie and you watch the Test Kitchen, you should absolutely be subscribed, as I am, to Boom with Lord Zoom. Please, everyone. Very impressive. Speaking of Boom with Lord Zoom, hello, Lord Zoom.
Hello. And I'd just like to point out, as I did in our Lord Zoom show, that if the US of A is a bit short of their articles, we discovered in a book belonging to a sea captain a copy of the document of independence. Just yesterday it was found. Well, just yesterday it was reported.
Of whose independence?
United States of America.
Oh, ours. Can we have it back, please?
Well, you can ask, but apparently it was during the little bit of infighting we had with you when you decided you want to be independent. And this captain took over a ship, and within the documents was one of the first copies, the printed copies of the as released when it was first enacted or whatever it was. I don't know how you did it over there, but
I don't know either. I wasn't there.
But yeah, so he nicked one from an American ship, brought it back, left it in his notes of all his sailings, and then somebody just happened to find it this week when they were
Well,
going
that's
through
very
through
exciting.
the diary. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Pop that in a FedEx for us. We'd appreciate it.
I just heard or listened to a historian talking about what the document is, how it was created, how many, the copies that were made, that were distributed. It was an announcement from this group of men in America to all the other countries of the world. And it's very interesting. Heather Cox Richardson is the historian, and it's a video. You can go and listen to it. It's very interesting. She goes through it line by line and what things meant, and all this stuff. Very nice.
So apparently in 2022, an incredibly rare 1787 copy of the U.S. Constitution was found in a dusty filing cabinet. That's how much we care about these documents.
Well, there's lots of them. That's the key there.
There is. Hey, let's say hi to Mike Latta. Hello, Mike.
Hello, everybody.
Mike,
So I've got
you
my
said
Canada Red on today.
Oh, Canada Red. There you go. I have my Zoom Blue. Hey, so you said you're having some weather out there? Because we are too. So if the two of us drop off because we get lightninged out or whatever, you all just take over. What happens? Oh, wait, here's a Zoom question.
Zoom question.
So let's say my power goes out. Host would pass to Mike. Let's say Mike's power goes out. Would host then pass to Robert, who was the first person in after Mike? Is that how it works in Zoom?
Yes.
Okay. So the meeting doesn't die.
On down the line.
And on down the line.
Until there's no one left, and then it doesn't pass.
No, it won't pass it on from me because I have a UPS and a generator in the studio. So
there you
I
go.
won't lose power.
Yeah.
Now you're just showing off.
Yeah, I do too, but you never know what's going to happen. So
Okay, I do too. It's just in my office, not at home. Hello, Ray Harwood.
Hello, everybody. Good to see you. Happy
How are you?
Friday.
Hey, did you go to the were you at the session this week? The events webinar, an event session this week?
Yeah, the one with Josh and
Great.
Mike
Yeah.
and
So
yeah.
I don't know what happened, but I missed it. So maybe you and Robert can fill us in on all the goodies that they were talking about.
Yeah, we can talk about that. Sure.
Fantastic. Speaking of Robert, here's Robert. Hey, Robert.
Hey, and I've chosen a shirt that will dazzle everyone today because it's the shirt you tell all speakers not to wear during an event.
Wait, why? Hold on. Why? Is it white? I can't tell.
No, because it's a checkered shirt and it just messes up the whole of the
I
camera
see. Yes.
settings. So,
It's very small
if
checkers.
you-
It was when
yeah.
I had you in gallery, I couldn't see it, but now I can see it. Yeah.
so you can see how the camera is fighting Robert's shirt constantly, and
That's
so will
great.
the encoder.
Why is that?
Not a good thing.
Why is that?
Well,
Why do
because
checkers?
So basically it comes down to how much video processing, because of the fact that Robert, there's so many checkers on his actual shirt that all he needs to do is just move slightly. Everything has to be redrawn in the video.
Okay.
So all the CPU and GPU then has to be consolidated largely on boom. All of a sudden, Robert moved. There's a little bit of stuff. So I have to read constantly every little micro movement that he makes causes that to be redrawn constantly Again, 30
Well,
seconds.
let's put
But
back.
and that is different than on the television shows where they always said don't wear stripes or whatever, because the refresh rate on the television made things very strange.
I
And
thought
Mike,
the
do you
issue
know
was
the details for
horizontal
that?
stripes versus vertical makes you look slimmer, and horizontal I thought that was the issue with stripes. Don't horizontal?
No, it's when you're talking about doing television shows
Oh,
and the
sorry.
guests come and you say, don't wear white and don't wear stripes.
Yeah.
So let's file this in our good to know about Zoom file. Don't wear checkers. And if your Zoom meeting is being broadcast on broadcast television, don't wear stripes. I mean, that's helpful information, right? Coming from Lois Richter. Hi, Lois.
Hi.
How you doing?
I was actually trying to ask Mike or one of the other engineers why there was a
Oh.
problem with the television stripes, because, I'm not an engineer, I'm an artist.
When it comes to, well, again, it depends on the resources that is actually converting the video to digital. So you got to think of it this way. Again, analog to digital conversion is going to happen. And then of course, digital is going into data, which is going into Zoom. I'll go no further than that because I could geek out. But basically it's the analog to digital conversion of it getting into the digital system. So again, it coming into your computer, now your computer has to do the work of me moving my hands all the time, me shaking my head a little bit, blinking. So there's going to be certain
Don't blink.
specific things.
Don't
blink.
Let's
Don't
file
blink.
this in your good for Zoom. Don't blink and don't move. Ray, help us out here.
Well, Lois, you might be thinking about pre-digital.
Absolutely.
And
Pre-digital.
part of that issue is, I think, related to the interlacing that happens of the signal. Every other line comes through the odd lines first and then the even lines.
Yeah.
And if you wear stripes and you move, one set of those sort of, leads and the other one trails, and it kind of looks funky. And the other pattern that you're really never supposed to wear is herringbone, because that really messes things up.
We've stressed Robert out too much.
Oh, it's okay, Robert. You can
Yeah,
move.
you can move. It's okay.
Yeah. You've got
You
a
look
dark
fine at
background.
1080p.
It's not going to change.
Hey, Hasmuk, how are you, sir? Good to see you. Good to see you. And hello, Frank.
Good day.
Good day. Good day. And hello, Julie. Good to see you. All right. So, if you don't mind, Robert and Ray and anyone else who was there, maybe, and John, I'm sure you were probably there also, maybe fill us in on this, the webinar from this past week about production studio. We played a little bit last week with some of the productions. I was learning for the first time. What did we learn this week?
Robert, go ahead.
Well, and I was just thinking maybe we should try and fire up a second engine just to show what we learned, because it's difficult. There's a lot to describe, and
it's definitely very, very intricate in some ways. Let me give you what I think are the quick highlights, and then maybe we can get into one. Number one is they've actually rearranged, I want to say not really rearranged, but I want to say upgraded the entire production studio panel. A couple of things that you'll note is you used to, in production studio, when you're live doing it, and I'm not talking about being in the editor creating scenes, but when you're live, it has the scene names now prominently displayed. So if you've got a list of 15 or 20 scenes and you want to pick the right one, the scene name is listed in very small type, just below the scene in that little film strip over on the left. And it's also prominently displayed at the top of the view above preview and above program. One of the other things they've done is there's a little button that you can press that actually enlarges preview and shrinks program a little bit and allows you to really focus on what things are going to look like. The other thing that is really the most exciting thing to me, beyond, there's the lower thirds and all that sort of stuff. The most exciting part to me is the fact that everyone in that sources panel down below now has a right context click that gives you the ability to do everything you need to do to them. Mute them, unmute them, or ask them to unmute, change their, anything you need to do, you can go from there. You don't have to go hunting for the participant panel and look them up over there or anything like that. All of that context switching is done right live down there, including there's a little switch on there that you can actually turn the switch on and off to exclude their visibility in a scene that you've already placed them in. You don't actually have to go remove them. You can just click the little switch, boom, they're gone, and you can push to live, and that saves a lot of fingers.
Yeah, I don't think that was, if you didn't use the previous version of Zoom Production Studio, you won't appreciate how valuable this is, because you take it for granted that in Zoom we have that capability available as the host, but in Zoom Production Studio we didn't. And like Ray said, you had to pull out the attendee list and do it at that level, which is really awkward. No one likes doing it that way, especially when you suddenly have someone move on the list.
Yeah.
But
so the other thing, go ahead, Robert. You want to talk about the lower thirds and?
Yeah, I was going to say that my absolute favorite were the lower thirds, because the challenge with Zoom Production Studio up to now has been the fact that you can't put any overlays onto it, and apart from a name tag or some sort of reaction on that person, but the lower thirds now are not something that only describe a person who's speaking. They describe the whole scene. So you can associate it with a scene, and you have, at the moment, you have 4 different formats, but you can see where they're going with this, because you can go in and edit those formats. And so you can change the colors, change the font sizes, a couple of things that you can do. But you can see where they're going with this, because what was her name? Nikki, the product manager, or the project manager, Nikki Kong, said that this is just the beginning of the lower thirds editing tool. So that they evidently want to do a lot there. And I can imagine that everything we see in, and this is what I think, is that everything we see in Zoom Graphics toolkit is going to be available to put into the lower thirds in terms of Q&A, comments, because that will make it really, really powerful. And of course, you can have that associated with a scene or to multiple scenes or whatever you want. So that, I love it. I'm really excited about that.
So I just tried to spin up. I had to jump out and jump back in on a different account. So I just tried to spin up creating an event so that we can play around with this. Again, please forgive me. I'm not sure that I know what I'm doing here. So here's my event. Now where is it? Where'd it go? Upcoming. Oh, draft. Sorry. Here it is. So I'm not sure. I don't see where to turn on Production Studio, but I do have
All right, live session.
the brand. Go to live session.
There should be
Settings down here, maybe.
Right, in session branding up at the top.
Session branding. There it is. Thank you. Wasn't sure where to find that. Okay. So, all right. So talk me through here what I should be playing with, Robert, because you're. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say just first for anyone who's never really used it, if you create a template that has a bunch of scenes in it, here's the place where you could pick one of those templates. And I'd recommend for you at some point, David, is you create a template with a bunch of different types of these, and you can do that. You basically click Add Scene, and then over on the right side, you can change the name. And I like to pick that the second row, third one. I call it a 9 up, because you can put anywhere between 1 and 9 people in there, and it will adjust to the number of people that are actually in there.
So, um,
And when Ray says it'll adjust by the number of
Actually,
people in there, it'll adjust to the number of people you put in there. So
actually, Robert, I got to call him on this one. Scroll back up again. I hate this. Look at that maximum number of speakers in the scene with 9, 25, and 49. That makes this the one odd out scene that really operates like gallery view, and anybody on the panel that has their camera on will be shown. And as they turn them off and turn them on, they will come back in and come out of a scene that you have in program here. It's kind of cool, but it's not well labeled right there. You can't really tell that's what it is.
right. So let's do, so we got that one. We'll make one of these. We'll call this screen share. And okay. And let's do a single. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So this is just as a layout thing. I'm always looking for a save button, and there isn't one here. And this is not save this scene. This is save this template. So if you want to add a
So if
scene,
you wanted to add a scene, right?
right, one up, and for this one, let's change it to put the lower third at the bottom.
this is where I'd like to pause you for a second, because I didn't realize this earlier on when I did it, when I was playing with this. But if you look at that lower third gray image that you have just above where you're writing, the 3 dots over there, that's where you go and edit the what the lower third looks like.
Yeah.
I didn't even see that. I didn't realize that.
So we can upload an image. Let me see. I don't even know if I have an image somewhere.
David, it'd be good if you had the Zoom Test Kitchen square.
I know. That's what I'm looking for. I just don't know if I have it anywhere. Graphics. No, I don't think I do. Oh, wait, I do. Look at that. Okay. Beautiful. So there's the, well, this doesn't really fit, but okay. I guess it has to be, does it have to be square? Is that what
Can
it
you
is?
pick it and scale it? Probably not.
Not anymore. I think the issue is that it has to be perfectly square, I think is the issue. That's all right. We'll leave it there for now. Here's the recommended image dimensions, 1920 by 1080.
Yeah, but this is where you scale it. You should be able to scale it here, David.
Oh, there's no controls.
You can only scale in, not out.
Right. But the issue isn't the scaling. The issue is the dimensions. It's calling for 1920 by 1080. But if you look, so this fits in these dimensions, but then it doesn't fit down here.
Is there a way to modify the actual placement of that image from the 3-dot menu that you first got in?
Doesn't look like it.
No. So the image looks like they've got it set up as a square.
Yeah. Even though it's calling, it's strange because it's calling for 1920 by 1080, but okay. So
this is what Nikki said, that this is the very beginning. They've put these placeholders everywhere. Now they're going to change them and evolve them.
Does the pencil allow you to edit the image?
No.
If you go over the image, do you get a pencil? Does that do anything?
No, it just brings up your library of images as it will.
Choose a new one. Okay.
Yeah. So let's put in here Zoom Test Kitchen.
Production Studio Test.
What?
Production Studio Test.
Production Studio Test. And you also have to be aware, I'm seeing now that if your image is a transparent ping, that it doesn't work really nicely with that. You really want a JPEG, I think, for that. Okay. All right. So now we have 3 scenes.
And one more thing, you can change the colors of those. You had blue and white. You can go and change the colors of those.
Yeah. And I also turned on, I didn't mention this, I turned on animation so that it will animate when you change scenes. You get a nice little animation in and out. And yes, you can change the colors. Here we go. So the color behind it.
But that's just the top one. That's not the white.
Right. Well, let's see. Hold on. Right. Oh, I should make it like a.
Is there a color picker? Can you actually steal the orange from Zoom Test Kitchen?
No, it isn't there yet. I
No.
checked. I was looking for it today.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
you
that
can
would be
put it
nice.
in a hex code if you know the hex code.
Right. You can. I'm gonna try and choose something like the blue, maybe. Doesn't really work, but you get the idea. Okay. All right. So we branded it a little. There's the gradient, the light to dark gradient. It doesn't look like you can adjust that. And that would be nice to be able to adjust. Okay. So now I've
Just
made
stay there, David. Just go down because there was something else that you should look at. If you can go further down, and just below there, the lower third displays here always or for a predetermined time, which is
auto hide,
also
right?
cool.
30 seconds. Yep. I'll put that on auto hide. Border style. So border width. Oh, that's interesting. I can't. Oh, I see. So you basically have 1, 2, or 3. It looks like, yeah.
Right.
Okay. We'll do that, and then can you do that over here also? Looks like
Yes.
you can. It's
Do you have-
just
do you have
for
a
videos.
wallpaper, David? Do you have a?
Yeah, I
maybe
don't. I'll put one in there. Definitely, sure. Let's do a wallpaper. Okay, add wallpaper. Oh no, you know what? Let's create an image with AI.
Yeah, David, while you're doing that, Hasmith has a question. Go ahead, Hasmith.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you.
That's okay. Is production studio equivalent to either meeting or webinar or none of the two? The reason why I asked that question, I see you had scenes where you can have one main scene and then 3 little blocks that you had. Can you bring anybody in the meeting and place who you want
Can't
to
be used in a
that?
meeting.
Wasn't that the share? The big window, wasn't that a share?
Yeah, the big window is a screen share.
But the big window could be the main speaker.
There are scenes where you can do that. That's why that scene picker has like 4 or 5 buttons down at the bottom that you can swipe through, and you have to look very carefully at the icon that's in the big box. Is it a share? Is it an image? Or is it another person?
Right. Okay.
I'm going to quickly I'm going to grab a square logo of ours and do it as not as a transparent, so that we can actually see what this will look like when it's done properly.
Do you want to get rid of the text since you've got the text?
Yeah, I
in the
probably
other
should
place
have.
too?
I probably should have. But, all right, let's see. Edit, upload. Oh, you know what I can do here? Oh, that's a shame. Okay, you can only scale it like this. You can't. I wish I could have cut that out. That's okay. But see, we're still going to have the. It's interesting. You still have the problem, but this is a. Now I'm confused because this is a square image.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is. This
That's
is a
not
square.
square. That's not square.
You're going to have to trust me on this, Lois. This is a square image.
When you were trying to adjust the corner and
I
you were
understand
moving
that.
the corner, it was keeping the rectangle that it had.
I understand that, but it is very much 1080 by 1080. It is very much a square image. Let me try and do it as a JPEG and see if that makes a difference. It almost seems like it's See, it's cropping it. This is what it's doing. It's cropping it to, see, it's cropping it to 1920 by 1080.
And you can move that up so you lose the text of Zoom Test Kitchen and just have a little black above it.
Right. But,
I
that's
think,
the
David, I'd
problem
have
here.
to say that this is probably a bug.
Yeah,
in
no, agreed.
the
It's because it's
creation of this.
right. It's forcing it to 1920 by 1080, which makes perfect sense. But then the actual logo is 1080 by 1080 or whatever it's square. Okay, so that's a little bug we need to figure out. Okay, so now we've got. Should I add this wallpaper? Let me add this wallpaper to all of these scenes. So we have it.
Click on the. Never mind.
What's that?
Nothing there. There's another place when you're uploading a new wallpaper or selecting a new wallpaper to make it the default for all scenes. So you don't actually have to do that.
Right. So I don't. Oh, I see. So right now, none is default.
Click there.
I don't see a way to make
click
this
on
as
it.
default.
Yeah.
When you upload, I think.
Oh, you think it's when you upload it, maybe?
Uh-huh.
No, because I didn't upload that one. So. No, right now there's no way to make it, and there's no way to delete. Like I just added another one, which I didn't mean to. Okay, this is all in progress. But now I have to add the wallpaper. All right, so now we've got wallpaper on all three. I've got 3 scenes, so this is my kind of my main scene, if you will. This is the scene that can, as I'm understanding it, Ray, that can be flexible with a number of speakers. And then this would be a shared screen. I'm going to add, where is here we go. Border cell, just to be consistent. I'm going to add borders. I don't really like that look, but that's okay. Okay. So now we sort of have a stylized set of, and I'm going to save this as a template, ZTK test template. Great. Okay, so now we have, let me just go back and we should be able to see that template now. In session branding, start with a template, scene templates, manage templates, and here's the template that we have.
But that's managed. Don't you just want to click on template?
Yeah, start with the template.
Yeah, that's different than manage.
All right, so here we go. So now, so that's now set. Is there anything else, Robert, that, oh, here's session wall. I wonder how this is different in session branding, session wallpaper. I wonder how this is different than what we just did.
Now it's the default, I think.
That's global, so that will work as a wallpaper even if you're not in production studio.
Okay, thank you. Great. Name tag design. Let's go ahead and do a name tag. So let's add. We'll call the ZTK. Let's see, the background color. Let's make the background color maybe black. The accent color will make kind of an orangey. And then the text will make white maybe. Okay. Oh, yeah, I saved it. Okay, good. Okay. So now we've got and we can make this default. So that's default. Okay.
All right, now the speaker branding.
Speaker branding. This is how all hosts, alternative hosts, interpreters, moderators, and speakers will appear when they join a webinar session in this event. You can update the name tag text and template and assign different virtual backgrounds.
So what you do here, David, is when you've created your scene, or not your scene, but your session, and added all of your speakers to it, and this is especially handy in a multi-day or multi-session event, you can have all of the speakers listed in one place and go in and kind of individually modify their names and descriptions and that sort of stuff right here in one spot.
Yep. You've got name tag design, virtual background. Okay, save. Beautiful. Okay. Robert, anything else we should look at while we're back here?
I just wanted to point out that when you go, now that you've selected this, you can go in and add, because you have a template, which is the base, you can add a scene to this session that we're defining over here. We're not stuck to the template itself. The template is like a starting template.
Yep.
Yeah?
So I can go in, if I click on that manage templates, I can edit.
No,
No, you're in the templates. You don't go into the templates. Go back one,
Yeah,
please. Okay.
Sorry.
And where is
click
it?
the production studio to edit scenes.
Well, no, edit scenes is good. So that's going to bring me to the same place.
So these are the ones in your session, just this session. Any changes you make here will not affect the template.
Right.
So when you make a new meeting tomorrow and use the template, it will have the template as it still exists.
Right. So I can, okay, so there are two ways to make changes here. For this session, I can edit scenes. For if I want to edit scenes for this and any other future sessions that may use this template, that's when I go into manage templates and edit. So now,
The minor difference, David, though, is that any changes you make to the template now will not go into that scene that you've already imported the template into. When you import the template into it, it creates those scenes and no longer references the template.
all right, wait, that's okay. That's fantastic. Let's make another scene here and add it to the template. Wallpaper. Okay. Name tags. Fine. All right, good. And we'll call this 2UP and save this template. So now, if we go back, yeah. So if you look, interesting. There, when you say edit scenes, you've still got the 3 scenes. Now, I wonder, but if I go in here, you can see there are 4 scenes. Now, is there a way for me to update this event?
Yeah. John is exactly right. Yes and no. You will not like the answer, but how you update the scenes to the template is you delete all the scenes in your session and reinstall a new template.
Hold on. Before you delete anything, if you look at, there's 3 little dots further up above remove scene.
Yep.
So you can save what you got there as a new template.
Oh, okay. That's great.
So if you've updated your template for that particular show and you want to use it again, then you've got the ability to save that template.
Gotcha.
So that becomes then becomes another template that you can use in future events.
Right.
But if you want to use the new template you've just created and bring that in anew, you have to remove
Start with
everything
template
and
again.
start again.
Boom.
Yeah.
Okay. And there are the 4. All right. That makes sense.
Just one thing of interest, if I can show you, David, if you just click on add a scene, yeah, and on the right,
I'm in. No, I'm not. Okay, I was just checking if I'm in the template editor or I'm not. This is the event scene editor that I'm in.
Okay. So on the right hand side, you can go down and you see the I can't read it over here because it's too small. But
sorry,
not too low. Not too low. Oh, thank you. Go up, 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 and select a layout, all layouts. If you click on that, oops, I wonder why I did that.
So now you've got all layouts, shared content, video tiles, or media.
Yeah, which is really good. The video tiles are when you have all the people there, and it's much easier to manage and find what you're looking for because it limits it down. It's like a filter.
Can I ask a question? So one of the things we discovered last week, and then I see you, Frank. Give me 1 second. Is that, for example, in this scene, right? Let's say we have 4 speakers. If I only have 3 speakers, this scene will still work because it will dynamically only show 3 speakers. So I guess my question is, why do I need to have a scene like this? Oh, sorry. I understand now. Because this is what someone was asking about before. This is the large speaker and 3 guests. This is not the screen share. But but my question remains, why would I need to have this scene and, well, this scene if these can change dynamically?
Yeah, let me try and
You
answer that.
wouldn't.
Mhm.
I always leave the one with the 4 on the sidebar, even if I'm just going to have 3 people.
Right.
Now, the odd part is that if you only have 2 people, you will not get the
Small and large.
small and the large.
Right.
My experience has been that they put them same size side by side.
Right. It'll default to this. Yeah. But it's interesting that it's interesting to offer so many different options when the truth is you don't really need this many options. If I chose this one and I only had 2 people, it would just put 2 people.
Yeah, but let me tell you something. When you're in production and you need to make decisions quickly who you're putting where, it's nicer to have the choice of 2 than to have the choice of 9 and think about it for
Gotcha.
10 seconds. Especially when you're handing this over. Remember, the whole concept of Zoom Production Studio is that you can hand this window that you have to someone else on the event, and that person can manage the event. Sorry, not the editing part of it, but when the webinar is on.
And Robert, I would offer just a small terminology correction to that. You can't hand it over to somebody, they have to take it from you.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I actually had an issue yesterday when I was playing with this. The program, the live view window, when I started my own screen share, I think, that live view went behind the preview in my production studio panel. It was like, what the heck? And I happened to have my other computer over here with Production Studio on as a sort of a standby. And I went over and I said, yeah, take that away from him and do it over on this other computer. And I actually left the session and came back into the session and it was still screwed up. It wasn't until the webinar closed that when I came back in, it was all fine. So there's still a couple of quirks, but yeah, it's if you've never done it before, and this is why I'm sure, Robert, you'll agree, you've got to get in with a couple of buddies and practice this until your brain is just too tired to do anymore, to discover the things that will happen. And if you've never taken control of Production Studio from another producer before, the very first time you do it, it's very scary and you're not exactly sure, when do I have control and when do I not? There's 3 or 4 button clicks that have to go on before you can get there.
But just to clarify, once I'm in the live session, there's no editing of scenes, there's no changing of scenes. It's a switcher, right?
Well, basically, yes. The one thing I would add is now you can at least change some of the lower thirds and some of the name tags and some of those things. Okay. But yes, you cannot go in and change a scene type. Those are packed in once you get into the webinar.
Gotcha. Frank, I'm sorry you've been so patient.
No, it's okay. I think I saw the answer to my question, but I was just looking at the thumbnails on the left, the scenes. I was just wondering, do you have to create them like 1 up, 2 up, 3 up, 4 up, and name them? Or if you decide you want to sort them differently, can you drag them into different orders? And I think I saw you do that while I was waiting.
Yeah. So on the left here, you can grab this and sort them. I'm not sure how that matters, other than for you as the you'll be able to see them. But I'm still a little flummoxed, if I'm being honest, about the need to have a 1 up scene, a 2 up scene. And to be clear, in Ecamm, which is what I use, I have this also. I have multiple scenes also. But what's magical about Production Studio is that it will change dynamically. So if I know that I just want either, if there's only one person on stage, I just want it like this, and there are 2 people, and it just grows until I should just be able to have a 9 up, and then it will just dynamically create it for me. I mean, to me, that's pretty magical about Production Studio. And they're not taking advantage of it because you have all the, I mean, they are, but we're still being shown all of these different options. So
Yeah, when I create a template, normally I will create a template that has one of each of the kinds of, combinations that you have, but always go with the maximum number of participants to show.
Right.
So I'll
Yeah.
have a screen share with as many as you can possibly have, all of that.
David, it really depends on your philosophy of switching, because keep in mind that now that you're in the session itself and you're configuring the scenes for the session, you can pre-populate the scenes with the speakers that you have defined in the previous step. Remember when Mike shouted out you need to put in the speakers?
yeah.
Yeah, if you have the speakers defined, then they appear here as a list, and you can pre-populate those slots. So you can plan out the whole event
Right.
and have a scene for each change of speakers, so that during the event, the person who's doing the switching doesn't have to populate those tiles at all, because you've pre-populated them. And that really works well for people who work in production that go through a step-by-step process where everything has to be predefined and they just click to the next scene. What you're used to and you're really good at, David, is where you have a template and you just throw things out and remove them and dynamically change who is in that tile, in a specific tile.
No, actually, sorry. Thank you for the compliment, but that's actually not what I do. In Ecamm, what I do is I just have a separate scene for each speaker. I'll have a separate one up for each speaker. I'll have a separate two up with me and each speaker. So I'm doing in Ecamm, I'm doing exactly what they have here. But Ecamm doesn't have the capacity to dynamically change like this does. And it's just, Robert, are you comfortable giving your email address? I'll hide it from the world, but I just want to put a speaker in so that we can actually.
I'll put it into the.
Are you okay with that?
Are you going to want me to join though? Because I'll.
No, I don't know. Mostly, I just want to see what it looks like when we can assign speakers, as you were just saying, right?
Of course, we want you to join, Robert, and we want 25 minutes on the subject we're going to give you in a second.
Yes, thank you.
And by the way, when we're talking about dragging and dropping the scenes in an order, when you're live, you can also do that as well. So if you've got a speaker that's speaking, you can drag up all the scenes that you want next to the top of the screen so that you've got them ready, available for you. You don't have to scroll down to them.
Now, that's a perfect example. I do that all the time with us every show too. John's got already everything laid out as templates for me. And then depending on the show and depending on how I want to rearrange things, I can rearrange them, but I can't change I can't change the scenes that John has already made for me without actually, I can replace the speakers and such and the shares and such. Like I can replace on the fly what's in the actual in each scene, but I can't change how the scene looks. So if you have that background on, I can't change that lock. That background's going to be there.
But what is moving those? What does that change? Is it just on the back end for the switcher to be able to organize the scenes, or does it change something?
Well, for me, I use it to organize myself to make certain ones closer to each other so that I'm got them in more easier access when I'm clicking on them live. Switching.
Okay. All right.
Right.
So I've added now 3. Oh, wait, it's in live session. So I've added 3 folks. So let's go in and edit scenes. So now you're saying where do I add those people so that I can see this happening?
On the right, on the bottom.
On the right, on the bottom. Aha. Okay. So here we go. So let's do this. So I want to, and here you go. So down here at the bottom, it says scene speaker. Choose which person will fill each video tile. Does this have unique speaker?
Click on one of the pull downs.
No, but what I'm asking is, does this have like right
active
now?
Speaker?
Yeah,
It
I
has
call it
active
unique.
speaker only when there's one speaker on the screen.
Okay, so here's one speaker on the screen. I can go to the
Yep.
bottom.
If you
And
scroll back
I've
to the
got-
bottom, you can see active speaker.
Yep, active speaker right there. All right, so we'll assign
right.
that.
Save.
Yep, save.
Because I always forget.
All right, so here we can do, we'll do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then this, I'm going to go ahead and I'll just assign Robert. But this, I remember we can change that on the fly, which is nice. Save. And then here,
David, just to correct you, you can change any of those on the fly. And we'll show you once
thank
we
you.
get into
Okay.
But again, it at least pre-populates once we join with those email addresses, it will populate automatically into the scenes.
Right. So now this is the 9-up, and I don't have any options to assign people.
Because
that
it's the
because I-
gallery, David. It's because it's the gallery, and anybody that has the camera on will show up there.
It's a gallery scene. Gotcha.
If
Okay.
you wanted to create another scene where you had control of which people went in, you would need to go off to some of the other scenes.
Yeah.
Keep going.
Maybe
There's
like one
your
of the.
lineup there, and because they have
Oh,
numbers in them, you're
I
supposed
see.
to.
The numbers indicate. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Right. So let's. Well, actually, we'll keep it. We'll keep it as the other one so we can see what that looks like. Let's go back. Right. So the numbers in here indicate that you can assign speakers to it. When you don't have numbers, that's what. Gotcha.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yep.
Just a UI thing for me personally. Having this one mixed in doesn't make like. I would say that's a completely unique type of scene to me. Okay, beautiful. Save. All right, so we are now saved. Back to my session. We've got our 4 scenes here. So let's publish this. All right, so the group join link will generate after you publish. Communication. Publish. I think I scheduled this for, I have to change it. Sorry, I set it for too early. Let's change it to 4 o'clock. Okay. Publish event. Okay. So now it's publishing and it's published. See your dates and links. And here it is. So I'm going to copy this. Actually, I'll copy the invitation. No, I don't want the whole invitation. I'll copy this and I'll pop it in the chat here. So that.
Okay. But ordinarily, all the speakers would get an email with their own direct join link.
Okay. Thank you. Mike is checking his email. Thank you for that. Great.
But you can bring them in with that registration link because they'll come in as the audience. You can always upgrade them onto the stage and then they can take their place as speakers.
Right. Now, when I set this up, I was very intentional to say no registration necessary. This is something that happened last week also.
We need a show. We almost need a show just to explain the registrations. There are so many different ways of registering now. I'm not surprised so many people get confused.
But I guess I said I don't want registration. So it's not clear to me why.
So
people
David, people still have to have a way to get to the session. So the fact that you said you don't want to use registration, how are you going to get them in the session? That group join link allows anybody with access to the group join link to get in.
Okay.
It just means they don't have to answer lots of registration questions or pay money or anything like that to get in.
Right. I guess the piece that was confusing to me is, let me see if I can find it again. All right. So here's, if I go to
only
date
one
and
piece, David.
Yeah. Well, so I would have thought, see, registration and join. See, I would have thought that link would have been here.
It is.
It is? I mean,
I think
so
if you copy,
I
if-
copied
if
the
you-
group join link, and it did. It took me right in. Now maybe that's because I'm, logged in with that. But
and when you were over there,
let's see
I-
what this is.
I-
Let's copy
I
this.
believe they are the same link.
Let's see. Oh, you're right. My apologies. You're right. Okay. Okay. So I'm now in. Is anyone else joining me? Let me mute this.
I'm working on
Okay,
it.
so you're in
Alrighty.
backstage at the moment, David.
Right.
So you can't be on stage unless you click enter webinar. That's start the enter webinar. That puts you on the stage, and then you can be included in.
Right. But other people, all of you who I've invited as speakers, you would also show up back here so that we can all talk to one another.
Yeah,
right?
but until you're on
Right.
the stage, you can't be picked by production studio.
Right. Okay.
So production studio will only take people that exist on the stage
Yeah.
that you've listed.
Oh, shoot. Hold on. Let me change my camera to this. Okay. I apologize for the terrible camera. It's just my. Okay. And now I need to open up while I'm here. I'm going to open up Production Studio. Don't tell me where that is.
No, we won't tell you. Keep going. Keep going. You
It's
found
up
it.
here. Open Production. I knew it. I knew it. Okay. All right. And
But until you send your first scene live, it's not running.
correct.
That's why it says off air.
Yeah.
It's all right. I've seen people sit there and wonder why it's not working, you see. So I just have to mention it.
Right. Okay. And so I can see Robert is in now. So I'll go over here and you can see that. Let me make this about the same size. So here's Robert because so this is a great example. So this scene is actually this.
Yeah.
It's the 4UP with the screen share, but right now no one's screen sharing and there are only 2 people in the webinar. And so what you actually get is this scene, which I created as a separate scene, except with the one person who's here. So in fact, again, what's nice about this, and what's nice about this is I know who's going to show up here, right? I know the speaker who's going to be here. So if I want to make sure that I'm speaking just to Mike, this is the scene that I'm going to use. But if I just want to be speaking to the active speaker, as it were, or to not the active speaker, to the one other person who's in the meeting, it's almost like active speaker. Oh, dear Lord, that's terrifying, Robert. That's awful.
I'm sorry, I'm on a machine that doesn't have a camera, and I just had to throw something out there that's pre-recorded.
Right, so
yes,
Ray is in now. I have to go. I have to remember that. Where's that back to? Where is that
So
button?
if you want to click on Ray and drag him into the box, then he can replace Robert in the preview.
Right, but the problem is I'm not in the production studio anymore. It got hidden.
Because you're in the scene.
Yeah. So
what Ray was
now,
talking about, it gets hidden, and unless you got a second screen where you can move it across.
so you can drag into preview, and then
Yeah.
boom. And now also you can see that we've got, again, because we're not screen sharing, you've got now a nice 3UP. By the way, I apologize for this background. It's terribly distracting. And it's also nice to be able to see, let me make this a little bigger, because it's also nice to be able to see the lower thirds that we have here. And let me go back to the 1UP. So there's that fly in, that nice little animation there. And again, because there are only 3 of us, even the gallery view is dynamically adjusting. A speaker
But
for
David,
the live
throw that lower thirds back in there and send this scene to live to cover the other one. And let's see that it comes up.
This guy? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Did they come up? There we go.
Yeah.
And David, just under the production, what's going out, you have a button there that's really useful. You have a scene that you're using, and you've got this edit button underneath the scene, and you can literally open it up, change it, and throw it back.
Look at that.
So if you want to swap the two positions of those two people, send it back, swap them around, send it back onto stage.
I see what you're saying. Okay.
I want to watch you do this, David.
So wait, so now I'm going to go do this and then I can send live. Interesting. Okay. So that's even more so now. Again, if I just want to keep it simple, and this goes to what you were saying before, Robert, if you want to just make changes on the fly instead of having all these scenes to switch between, I can just, keep this right here. Boom. Boom. And I'm able to switch like that. There's Mike. Boom. Yep.
If I can tell you what I would really like, and I know it's coming, but we're not here yet, David, and I'm sure you're feeling this, really feeling it in your fingers and in your heart, that you can't use a Stream Deck to switch scenes.
I was wondering that send live button. Yeah, that to me, you need to have to use your mouse for this. It's cumbersome. That'll come.
I can tell you how to do it though, if you want. John has an app a plugin into Stream Deck that will let you do it. So there's a way to do it. Yeah.
So again, here's something for them to consider. We were talking about organizing scenes before. Once you're in production studio, you can't organize scenes. To me,
yes, you can. You can drag them up and down.
What am I? I'm sorry. So I apologize. I didn't see the 3 lines, so I assumed that you could. But you absolutely can. You just drag and drop. That's super. That's super.
So the scenes you want to use in the next few minutes, you can drag. If you've got 50 of them, you can drag them from the bottom up to the top. So you've got all the ones that you want just at your fingertips.
Yep.
And you haven't clicked on the titles button halfway down either. You can see what you can play with titles.
Right. Display name tags. Let's go into this scene. There we go. So you have to be in a scene that has a title. So there were 2 options back when we were building this. There was, in fact, let's see if we can just see that again real quick. No, it's not there. It's in live set. It's a little confusing. Okay. Live session, in session branding, edit scenes. So, by the way,
reminder, David, any change you make here, it won't let you save.
Oh, it won't. That was going to be my next question. Yeah, but it says webinars live, you're unable to edit, duplicate. That's fine. But the point is, what I want to show is down here, you have 2 options under titles. You've got display the name of the name tag of speakers or add lower thirds to the scene. And you can have both of those ticked. I chose not to do that, so we can't see that. But so now when you can, if I'm on a scene where I selected show name tags, obviously we're just going to have this, and I can toggle that off.
And then you have to take the scene.
Right.
There you go.
Oh no, I was sorry. I was hesitating because when you turn it off, let me go back. You still see the Zoom ones here in preview. That's a little.
So you know who they are, just in case.
No, I get it, but it made me do a double take, thinking that those might jump over.
David, I feel you too. Yeah, it's been irritating me too. Yeah, that I want to be able to see that if I did disable it, that it actually disabled before I take it.
Exactly. Yeah. And then look at this though. Interesting. I can actually toggle on display name tags from here. I mean, it doesn't work, but I mean, it does, but you can't do both. Doing both at the same time definitely doesn't work. What they need to do is move the name tag over or something.
Well, certain layouts wouldn't have that, would have the gap at the bottom, and therefore they could overlap. Oh, sorry, you could put them without them overlapping. And if you edit that text, it will edit it live.
Right, but I'm not sure because both of them
use the 2 up.
Do the 2 up? Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm sorry. Right. So I can't do it here because I don't have it on the scene. But yes, you're right. Thank you. The type, because the name tag is attached to the camera, whereas the title is attached to the scene. Thank you. Great. Okay, so let's go back to this.
You can imagine when you're setting up your scenes, David. And this is what I plan to do because this is new, so I haven't used it yet in production. But I'm going to make a duplicate of each of the scene, one with the name tag switched on, with all the options switched on, and one with only the option that I want, and name them in such a way and group them in such a way that if I need them, I can pull them up and keep them going. What I don't want to do is have to go in at the start of an event and make sure that each and every person has those switches switched on or off.
Yeah. Right. So that would, and you and I, this is what we've been going back and forth on, the different ways of doing this production. The other way, which is the first thing that I thought of, but you're right, without Stream Deck buttons, it's a handful, is to literally just make sure that I have everything turned on every scene, so that then when I'm in session, I can be, and this is just my workflow. I like to change things up and have everything, available to me in every session. In fact, just by way of example, in Ecamm, I'm sorry, Frank, I just saw you. Just real quick, in Ecamm, you can assign overlays like titles and things like that to a scene or to all scenes. I have almost every overlay in all scenes, and then I just toggle them on or off, because I don't want. There have been too many times when I have realized that I need not a name overlay, obviously, but I need actually even a name overlay when I need, I'm created a scene on the fly. I put that person in, and now I don't have their name tag because it's a scene only overlay. So I think another way to do this would be to literally just turn everything on whatever scenes you're doing, and then edit in here. Go ahead, Frank.
Can I change the topic for a second?
Yeah, but I'm sitting here in studio, so.
No, it's about studio.
I'm kidding.
What's the workflow? Let's say a client comes to me, wants to have a webinar, wants to be the host, but doesn't want to be the technical director. What's the workflow for me to not appear in the show, but do all the switching?
So you guys talked about how to hand this off. Let's. Well, I mean, me being the TD, but not being on camera is easy, because I just don't put myself in any scenes, and I just put all the other speakers in scenes. But I think that was your question, but how would I hand TD off to someone else?
You just have to make them co-host.
Nope, it's easier than that, guys. It's easier than that since I think February. You can do all of that from backstage. If you go backstage, you don't even appear in the sources, and you can do all of the manipulation from backstage. You can't screen share for anybody. You can only technical direct using Production Studio, but that's the way to kind of keep you out of the everything.
And since version 7, you can go to backstage now and it will still go with you. But we can't hear you because you're backstage. But apart from that, it's fine. But then we will want to hear you if you're backstage. Yeah, we can't hear you because you're backstage. But we wouldn't be able to hear you if you were backstage, because if you're backstage, you can't be heard.
And we still can't hear you, David.
No, you haven't got your other audio on.
You're
the
other
you're
camera
muted
shot.
as you're moved.
Now you can hear me.
That's it.
Yeah.
Now you've got the right one on.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry about that.
That's
This is
okay.
very confusing. I apologize. Okay, so now I'm in backstage. No one needs to hear me. I don't need this thing on, whatever. And so here, let's keep the meeting here. And here is, and so now I can, whoops, sorry. You know what? Even the targets are kind of small. If you're not going to have the Stream Deck thing, it's like my mouse was just jumping a little and I couldn't. Yeah. So now here I am. I'm not on the screen. I'm just sitting in backstage, and I can do everything. And now, how was it, Ray? Forgive me. If I want to allow someone else to do this work, how do I hand it to them?
You don't. Someone grabs it. Here, I'll come back backstage. And we'll explore.
Wait, I just lost. Where did it go?
Can you make me a co-host?
I can, but it looks like I just lost my connection. Look at that. What's going on?
I don't know what I'm looking at. It's too many things to look at.
I just got kicked out. No internet connection. But I'm still in our meeting. That's weird.
David, that's a separate machine?
No, I'm on one machine.
Logged into Zoom twice?
At 2 different accounts.
Yeah, you got kicked out. Try joining again.
Yeah. So let me actually I'm gonna quit Zoom. Oh, you know what? Zoom is hung up. That's I don't think it's my internet. Look at this. Zoom has I've broken Zoom. Let me see if I can force quit this.
Run out of memory, David.
And so Robert he's the surviving host, and so he could do production studio at this point.
Yeah, I just can't share it with you. So I will do it, but I can't share it with you.
Okay, I'm gonna try and join again. I am doing all of this from just my little MacBook Pro, so it may indeed be just a little too much. And now it's not even loading now. Back to my session. Let me grab the link again.
Is there any way to stop someone who's a co-host from taking control of the show? What if you don't want anyone to take control? Just don't make them co-host?
Don't make them co-host.
All right. I'm I think my computer is revolting. Let's see here if I can get back in. Sorry about this.
So if you do TD, but you're not part of the show, I guess if you're backstage, you don't have comms with anybody. There's no way to talk to anyone.
Yeah, this is one of the things we had this discussion, in fact, with Mike and John the other day. I prefer to be on stage because I can see people, I can look at them and say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 and throw it and switch. And if I'm not in the scene, then no one can see me in the webinar. So I find it more convenient to be on stage with the guests. They also find it more, well, it depends. Once again, there are two schools here, but David's going to restart his computer.
Yeah, I'm gonna do a quick restart. Sorry about that. I'll be back.
So he'll have to close the 195 tabs he has open in Chrome.
And I agree, Robert. The other piece reason I like being on stage is because if there's a technical glitch and I need to, I rarely, when I'm doing somebody else's event, I rarely come on audio and I rarely come on video. But if we have someone who's joining from South America and all of a sudden they drop and there's nobody there to sort of take charge, I'll come on and go, ladies and gentlemen, we've got some technical stuff and we're working through it. And if you're backstage, there's kind of no way to do that.
So if you're the TD for someone else's show and you're not in any of the scenes, can you do their sharing for them, or do they still do their own sharing?
If you are on stage, you can share for them, because what you do is you drag and drop the person who is sharing into the share screen, and that's whose screen share actually goes out. You can do it either way.
A
I think
lot of shows I did, we would have a PowerPoint Dropbox, and people would send
Yeah.
the slides ahead of time, and then you would run the PowerPoint slideshow for them. One of the assistants would run the PowerPoint slideshow as a technical assistant, right?
Yeah. and what-
Separately. So you would bring them into the webinar as well on stage and just use them as a share source.
Okay, cool.
and only as that, Frank. Yeah, that would.
Yeah, I'm just trying to wrap my mind around this from a television production point of view, right?
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. Yeah. So basically, and again, what I usually do with all of the guests that come onto Lord Zoom Live or onto production professionals power hour. Again, I'm still doing the PPs in the wrong direction, John. I will get it one of these days. When we have guests, I will, and they're going to share, I will purposely have them share ahead of time, because again, that is the one thing that you do not have a visual of currently. And this is something that I've mentioned to Josh and the team, is that you do not have a live in the bottom where you saw all the video sources when David was showing me production studio. You do not see a live share. You have to go into the actual scene to see the share.
Do you ever ask anybody to send a copy of the slideshow or whatever resources before the show starts to you, so that you have them to share on their behalf and advance slides and do all that stuff?
No, John and I don't get that complicated at this particular point.
Okay, cool.
But I have
I
an
do
app
it
that
all the
does
time,
it.
Frank.
Yeah, but yeah, go ahead, John. Say that again.
Yeah. Shameless plug time. So I have an app which I wrote with the help of Claude, which is a plugin for PowerPoint, a Stream Deck plugin, and a piece of software on its own. And so what I can do is I can load all the PowerPoints into one machine, and I've got a button on my Stream Deck which allows me to create the file names for all the different PowerPoints, so I can load each one. I can play it. I can go forwards and backwards. And if I run it on an external IP like ngrok, I can control it from anywhere. So I can do all the slideshows. I have a slideshow machine that does all the slideshows. In fact, we used it today. I used the machine over there as the slideshow machine, and I controlled the slides remotely from here. Although remotely is only like 3 feet away, it still was remote.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Thanks.
And in my nursing conference, we had a couple of the moderators who just chose to grab the PowerPoints from all of their 4 speakers in their session and built them into one deck, and they decided to share as well. So
that's pretty common. Yeah, thanks.
But just to hammer the point, because some people may have missed it, you can have, when you're running production studio, you could have 3 people doing screen shares, but none of the screen shares are seen unless you put them into a production studio scene and go live with it.
Right.
So unlike meetings where if somebody was screen sharing it, everybody saw the screen share. In production studio, they don't see the screen share until you select it.
But John, I think you need to be even more precise in this one, that they can all do their share screens at the same time, right from the beginning. And that was your point there, that as soon as they come in, they share their screens, you set them up, they can see everything, and they're ready to go. They don't touch it until it's their turn.
Exactly,
Right.
Robert.
And another
that saves
nuance.
so much problems with people sharing their screen at the last minute and mucking it up. You can get them to share their screen. In fact, I get them to share their screen backstage first, so they're happy with the process. Oh, that's what Ray was going to say. And then I take them onto the stage. They then share their screens again, because unfortunately I have to redo it, but they share the screen again, and the share screen is not shared with anybody until you activate it in a scene on Production Studio. So you know they're ready, and that's just another stress area taken away from you.
There is another nuance, John and Robert, that I want to point out, and I know both of you are aware of this, and that is that the panelists who are on stage with you, not the audience, but the panelists on stage with you will see the screen shares and can actually select between the screen shares to see them in their regular webinar panelist window. And so, I mean, that's cool, but it's very confusing for them because they're wondering, how come Mary's screen share is up there and not mine if they have somehow mucked it up? And so that's one of the reasons I asked them, for the most part, just pin the production studio output so you know what's actually going out to the people.
Yeah, I've done that with the latest guests that John and I've done as well. And it was very useful.
I think that's a good point, actually, Ray, because for all the other panelists, it needs to be said that they're just in an ordinary Zoom meeting with one extra tile that shows what's going out to the attendees. So it's nothing unusual. They don't have to know anything about Production Studio at all.
By the way, and my apologies for having jumped out, but so just so everyone can see, this is, if you're just a panelist, this is the Zoom meeting that you're in. And like he said, this is the attendee view, it says. So that's right there. And then I have Production Studio open next to it. And by the way, since I jumped out and came back in, when I hit send live, it's going to say, hey, do you want to take over? Because now I think Ray is running this.
Robert.
Oh, Robert is. Okay. Although it doesn't show, it's interesting. There's a space here. It says blank is currently running.
That should say Robert's name
I'll,
there.
I'll tell you why it doesn't say anything is I'm not logged into a Zoom account on that machine.
Okay. So there you go. Oh, okay.
And David, if you want,
just real quick sorry, Mike. So in Production Studio, I can swap speakers. I can do anything. I just can't send any of it live. That's the only difference.
Without the acknowledgement, right?
Right. I'm sorry,
nor
Mike.
should you, David.
No, of course, yeah.
Because that's unprofessional just to be plopping things into a live feed without doing a nice cut.
Yeah.
Well, but if you know you're going to take over for somebody and you know you basically chat with them back and forth, if you're not both backstage, you know, hey, I'll take over when we switch from Robert over to Mike. Okay, then you set Mike up in the next scene, and when Robert says, well, that's all for me, and now I'm going to hand it over to Mike, that's when you can take it over and push the new one over to live.
What does it take to get the up here in the view, my view? What does it take for people to get this open Production Studio? Does every speaker see this?
No,
Co-host.
it's hosts.
Just host and co-host. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So Robert became host when I dropped out.
Correct.
And when I came back in, I guess, as co-host.
You should be able to retrieve. Right? You should be able to
no. I didn't. I came back in as host. That's interesting. So this is a little interesting to me.
So when you reclaimed host, Robert fell out of the host.
Right. But just to be clear, I actually didn't reclaim host. I just logged back in. I just came back in.
The system did it automatically, Dave.
Exactly. But what's interesting to me is that Robert is not host or co-host, but you still have control, Robert.
Actually, I don't have control.
So who has control?
Co-host, probably Ray.
There's Ray. Are you?
Shouldn't there be an icon saying who's got control?
Well,
I actually couldn't take control because Robert had it when you bounced out.
So I'm the host, but I still have to acknowledge and to take over and send live. But it's not clear who I'm taking over from. See, that's why. So Robert,
that's why it's blank, because there is nobody really in charge.
Right.
So until you take over, it's frozen doing what it says off air, but
right. That's interesting.
Can you ask a panelist to give you permission to adjust their audio or their video?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
That was really interesting what happened there. That's a strong argument for make someone else co-host. Don't be the only one with the keys to the kingdom.
With the condition that you don't take control unless I tell you to, or I disappear from the screen.
Right. Well, I wonder, actually, Robert, try and take control. Try and send live. I wonder if I will get hey, do you want this person to be able to?
Yes, you will.
Yep. But have you made me co-host?
Yes, you're co-host.
Yeah. David, you will. I know with John and I, John sees every time I take over if he's already got it running
Right.
and vice versa.
Great.
So whoever has control of production studio and somebody else wants to take over, you will get a pop-up.
Yep. So I didn't get
Just took-
anything.
I don't think you get anything. I just took control. It asked me to reconfirm that I'm taking over, and I took over.
Can you send it live now? Because now there's nothing on air.
When he
I think
sends it
that-
live, he gets the prompt, "Are you sure?" And when he clicks it, it goes live. It should.
As far as I can see, I am live. You're not live. That's why you say you are off air, David.
No,
You can
but
see-
shouldn't I? Oh. Okay. What that? So this is strange. Why? So as soon as, even though I'm host, wait a second. This is
Take
so
it over.
Robert S is currently running production studio. It's what's interesting is I can't see what Robert is doing in production studio. I can see it in the meeting.
Correct. You don't have view to his preview panel.
No, but this is his Robert. Can you change
No,
your
it's
preview?
your preview panel.
Because you can
as an
adjust it.
alternate technical director, you have a separate console and you have your own preview panel. That's why you could pick something else and
Right,
say,
but why?
when-
But I can't see what's in production. Robert, change the scene for me.
You can see what's in production on the other window.
No,
but
I understand
not
that. Go
in
ahead.
the-
Go ahead and change the scene. Wait. All right. Let me. Okay, so you changed the 2-up. Now, I guess my question is, why don't I see that over here? Why does it say? I mean, I understand
It's
I'm off
only
air,
the
but-
person in control sees the on air.
Right.
You're not in control until you actually take it over.
Right.
That's when the off air will turn to live and Roberts will turn to off air.
Now,
Correct.
why did it change to this though? Oh, because no one's screen sharing. Sorry. That's why. Gotcha. Interesting. All right. So just to be clear, I didn't get a warning when he took over, and he didn't get a warning when I took over.
No.
So that, to me, that's something that should be, the host should, I guess, someone should have ultimate control so that someone doesn't go rogue.
One of the co-hosts, yeah.
Right.
But
Right.
you're just informed that I've taken over, or that
I wasn't even informed.
you were, because you went off air.
Well, no, the exact right. It's I didn't get a pop-up that said, "Hey, Robert is taking control." It just did it.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's the way
Yeah.
it works. Yeah.
Would you like to start the webinar?
Oh, should I? Sorry. Is this going to use my, I'm going to have to buy more seats with all these tests. All right. Our webinar has started. This is very exciting. Why did I start the webinar?
Well,
No
because
idea.
when you put people in your preview window, if you're in control, they should get a warning that they're going to be on stage soon.
Ooh, let's try that. I'm going to put Ray there. Did you get a warning, Ray?
I don't see one yet.
I don't think it works for myself.
Did you send a live yet?
No, but
wait,
he said,
I've got
he
my
said-
screen up too, David, so go for it.
All right.
So you
So
know where
I
the
just-
notification button is beside the send live, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought he meant, I'm sorry. I thought John meant when I put you in preview that you will get a notification. It's not that. There's this little button that I just clicked and now you've gotten a notification.
Not yet.
No,
Not
not
yet.
you. Mike did. Mike did. Speaker has been
What?
notified.
So
Three
you can warn people
two,
before you
one.
take them live.
now.
3, 2, 1. Now what?
Well,
Yeah,
I
I'm
thought
not-
you didn't push anything to live, right?
No, but I'm pressing the notify speaker button and no one's getting
Yeah,
anything.
okay, but we won't until you move the scene to live, and there'll be a 3-second delay, I believe.
Nope.
No,
It went
Wow.
right over.
I'm not in the scene, so
No, but for Mike. All right, so now I notified all of you. This is the 4-up. And now I'm going to hit send live.
your scene is in progress.
So you got a notification, but you were already live when you got that, just to be clear.
I got a different notification that your scene is next.
Oh,
Yeah, that's what you get when you're in the preview side. Your scene is next.
It would be annoying.
gonna-
Lots of times I like to when I'm directing a TV show. Lots of times I'll preview a lot of different things before I decide what I'm going to take. So you would get
I
a lot of
agree.
notifications.
I agree.
Well, that's probably why they put the button there, Frank, so
Right.
you don't get it until you press the button, because they didn't used
Okay.
to have the button.
All right.
Yeah, I agree with you, Frank. I do that also. Oh, Robert, are you on a Mac or PC?
I'm on a Mac. But the interesting thing is that with that notice, it asked me if I want to share screen. It sort of prompted me, share screen.
Yes, because that's because the scene that we're in right now technically is a screen share scene. And the only reason we're not seeing it in program is because no one's sharing a screen. So if I do this,
but the point is that it proactively asked me to
I think you're selected, Robert. I think you're selected as the person to be sharing, expected to be sharing the screen.
Yeah.
actually,
Well,
I don't think I selected anyone. Maybe I did. I don't remember. Maybe I did.
David, you can go in there, go replace 3.
Yeah.
Go replace. Now choose.
Yeah, but no one has a screen share, so it doesn't really matter. Oh, you know what though? Yes. Look, so I didn't remember if I chose Robert. Robert's not in this list, so that means that you were the chosen one, as it were. If I change it to Ray, or I'll change it to Mike, replace. Now you should get a notification. Let me change the scene real quick. Okay. So now you should get a notification, and your notification should say something about screen share. Yes, no?
your scene is next.
Mike, did you get anything?
Sorry, I forgot that I was on mute. No, making sure that I'm not doing multiple audios here. Right now, I did not, but again, I'm throwing another wrench into this too on purpose. I'm actually coming into you live via Linux. So I'm not getting that pop-up right now, but
So
it might be something I have disabled.
So Robert is sharing, although it looks like you're sharing a copy of the same screen, so it's hard to tell.
I am. Just the OBS.
It's a little meta, but so this is a screen share here that he's done. Now, if I want to change the screen share, I could do it like this, I guess. Replace. Yeah. You can pull up the same scene into preview, change the screen share, and then, and
send it back live. Yes.
Right. That's what I should have done. I should have edit and preview. Right. That's what I should have done. And send live.
Well, you can only edit. Yeah, you only can edit in preview. You can never add it live.
No. But what I'm saying is, so basically there are 2 ways to do it. So what I did was I had forgotten completely about this edit and preview button. So
that's also new too.
Right. So what I did, why is nothing, what's going on now? Oh, because I'm clicking on the wrong thing. Sorry. So there are 2 ways to change that screen share. Either edit and preview and then come over here, or just click on the scene again, the same scene, and you get it here, and then you can edit. It does the clicking on the scene over here or edit and preview does the same thing. I'll be honest with you. If I unless I have 50 scenes here, I'm just going to click on the scene again to bring it up here. I'm not.
No, David, it doesn't do the same thing. Just be careful with this, because if you've pre-populated your scenes on the left, then that format will come across, and not the format that you've edited and are sending out.
Are you sure?
So you may have a different selection of speakers on the
Right.
one that's live compared to the one that's preset.
Right. But what I'm saying is that it, all I'm suggesting is that to be able to change, to edit the scene, there are two ways to do that. One is by clicking edit and preview. The other is just by clicking on the scene and then editing the scene. Right. I can edit this scene, just by doing this. And I didn't click edit and preview. Now I'm going to send that live. And now if I want to edit this scene again, I can just click on it again and edit it again, right? Like that. As long as it's in preview, I can edit it. I don't need to click edit and preview. It looks to me like it does exactly the same thing.
Can you just redo that? Because Ray has sort of made me think about this twice again. In the scenes that you've set up now, the two up, you've got ML and who? I can't
Me.
read from here. And you.
Right.
But in the
And
scene
this is
itself,
the way it was originally created.
okay. Now, if you go and edit that and change something out,
Yep. So I'm gonna pull you and put you in there.
okay, and go live.
Yep.
Oh, it does change it. Ray, you were right.
does.
It changed
It
the.
does. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I thought you go back to default there. So I
And now
was
the
wrong.
only way, by the
No.
way, the only way that you get the edit and preview is if you change the scene in preview, then you can click edit and preview. But my only point was I don't need to click edit and preview. I can just go back to the
Correct.
scene and
There's
just change it.
two ways to skin that cat.
Exactly.
Robert, here's
Okay.
the reason that I knew that worked that way is because I actually relied on that in my nursing conference, because I could predict a couple of scenes in advance that I wanted to have 3 or 4 different people in there. I could actually push it to preview, make the changes, and then tap another one
Yes.
into preview. It would go back in, and then when I pulled it back in, it would have the changes that I made.
That's right. You're right. And now I recall that's the way it works.
Hey, you know
I was
what?
surprised the first time it happened.
You can switch scenes in preview using your arrow keys. I just learned.
What?
Yep. Up and down arrow keys will scroll through your scenes in your preview window, which is really nice.
Are you serious?
Oh,
That
no.
means we've just solved a problem.
But it won't take it live, gang. But at least it'll go. Yeah,
Correct.
you know.
And I tried it's funny you say that, Mike, because after I went up and down, I clicked return or enter, hoping that might take it live, but it didn't.
So David, what part of your screen has to have the focus for that up down
Yeah,
arrow
good
to
question.
work?
The production studio. Any
But if
I
you
can click.
clicked in any of the sources, does it still work?
Wait a second. Now it's not working. Hold on.
Right, because you clicked down below. You have to highlight that blue rectangle around the scenes, and
Yeah, but you know what?
That's it.
It's not just that. It's wow. This is weird. So it's if you go too far.
It falls out.
No, you know what's look at this. This is fascinating. Hold on. Right now, this scene is live. Okay. I'm going to click on this one preview. I can scroll up and down between these two scenes, but once I go to the live scene, I'm stuck. The up and down keys don't work anymore. As soon as the live scene is in preview, I can't go up or down anymore. So here I am. I go up and I'm stuck again. That's so interesting. Let me move this live and try it again. So here, yep. Oh no, wait. No, it's not the live scene. It's the screen share scene. Wait, this is fascinating. It's the screen share scene. Once I hit the screen share scene, I can't use my arrow keys to go up or down anymore.
I'm guessing there's something about that grabs the focus
Yeah.
away from the keyboard.
Yeah. And that's exactly what happens. You can see the blue square around when I'm going between these two. As soon as I go up to screen share, it disappears.
Yeah.
We found a little bug, Zoom.
Probably a little
A
bug.
fun one though. A fun bug though.
Yeah.
Wow.
day of discovery. Wow.
Yeah. This is great though. Really great.
But I'm going to put one spanner in the works here with Zoom Production Studio. I find it really easy and good to produce an event for someone else. I find it impossible to produce an event for myself when I'm the speaker.
You find it impossible?
Yeah, it's
Why is that?
there are too many things you have to pay attention to. That maybe it's just me. I'm not multitasking as like you are, David, but I lose my focus and I can't focus on what I'm saying. I'm focused on managing the event.
Robert, when I did an interview with Jonathan Scott, who has his language session over in the UK, this was 3 years ago. I had Denise Lahat and Anissa Barton Thomas, I believe, on as well, and me, and we interviewed him about his most recent session. And I partially agree with you. Like, if I'm talking about something or if I'm asking questions, I do find it difficult. But if I've got a scene available with Jonathan and the two of the others available, and I just want to bow out and kind of put that in place and then do some stuff behind the scenes and kind of be, not master of ceremonies. I mean, maybe I was just too early in the game to know how nervous I should have been. But I didn't find it real difficult. And as long as you don't have anything real complex, we didn't do any screen sharing or anything. It was just an interview style thing. I think you can probably manage that okay.
I can't do it, but this is it, David. You've hit the nail.
Exactly.
It's because you don't have the stream buttons.
It really is. So, and now, granted, this is a show that I do every week, and generally the first 4 people on here, so Tamara, Tony, Lois, and Dave, and Sky, first 5 people are here just about every week. So they always stay in these spots. So this is the 1-up. These are the 2-ups. And then I've got a couple different full panel views here. These 2 change from time to time, and I just change the name on there so that I can see it. My share, I'm the only one who ever shares. And so I just built a scene with a share screen and an active speaker camera. So that just dynamically changes based on whoever's making the most noise. But for me, this is how I do it. It's just a matter of finger muscle memory, and you remember where the buttons are. Yeah, that really is, I think, in many ways, at least a small part of the answer to the question. Yep. What is toggle speakers on or off? What does this mean?
So, David, let me talk about the toggles. So toggle me instead of you. Toggle me instead of you.
Toggle me instead of you.
Did you see it change?
Yeah, and mine went off.
Right.
Is that just another way instead of dragging?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And
the
way I used to do before too was if you go up to the actual screen and you do that and you do your place, and then you have to go to name. So there's 3 ways you could do it.
That just seems silly. I don't know why you would want that.
And it's also
that's the only way
very helpful.
I was doing that ever since the beginning of John and I was doing the replace all the time.
Oh, you know why
also
though?
Very helpful.
You could type. Sorry to interrupt you, Ray. So if you've got 100 speakers or whatever, and you don't want to have to scroll through all these down here. Up here, you can just start typing, and it finds the name for you. So that's super helpful, actually. I'm sorry, Ray. Go ahead.
And if you were to take that 3-up or 4-up, or the 3-up with the screen share, put that in preview, and then you can actually just use those toggles to take them out of the scene as well. And then
it'll just show the 3. Now this is so. Wait a second. So now I turn that back on. Send live. It'll just add me. So I'm looking over here in program, right? If I toggle myself off, Send live, it goes to 3. Toggle myself on. Actually, let me do this. So, yeah, you can just drag it in. I'm a dragger. That's how I would always do it, I think. Because I want to know where, I want to make sure I know where I'm putting them.
Yeah,
Can-
but it's more
if
useful
I-
for omitting people rather than adding them, because you can
Right,
you can take people
right.
out that scene straight away without.
Oh, right, because you
dragging them.
can't drag them out. That you know what? That's great, actually. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, the only dragging is great for replacing, but you're right. I didn't think about taking them out. And I will say, so here again, Production Studio has a leg up on what I was showing you before on my Stream Deck. Is I've got a 6-up panel and a 7-up panel, and the reason I have that is because it's not dynamic. It doesn't change dynamically based on the number of people I have, and so I have to create if I have 6 people on my panel, if I have 7 people on my panel, this, I can just toggle folks off, boom, and it automatic. I mean, that's brilliant. That's just a beautiful, beautiful feature.
Just try one thing, please, David. Okay, staying on the scene in the preview, can you switch yourself off?
Yep.
Um,
I want to add
and
you
then
twice.
Add me twice.
Nope, can't do it.
Okay, you can't do it.
Yeah.
And now, can you add yourself when you're off?
Yeah, it just toggles me on.
Yeah, because you were there previously. But is
Well,
that,
no, I could if I so let me
could
toggle
you take the
myself off.
2? Can you do it on the 2-up? Maybe it'll be easier to see.
Oh, sure. Sorry. Here we go. So I'm going to toggle myself off. Let me send that live. So now we've got the 1-up with Mike. And now, interestingly, here's an argument for having all these separate scenes, because if you look at the program now, let me make these equal. If you look at the program now, it's got his name on the lower third there. And that's how the 2-up scene is created. The 2-up scene is created with names. If you look at under titles, it's only display name tags. If what it didn't do when I turned myself off and there was only one active camera in this scene is it didn't change to this scene, or it didn't bring up this lower third, which was with the title at the bottom. So it's just I guess this is why you maybe want to have either a separate scene, or like I suggested before, make sure everything is turned on and available to you so that then you can toggle that. But now, so let me bring up this 2x2. So now I'm here. I can add myself like this. I cannot duplicate myself. If I turn myself off, I can add someone else there. Yeah. Is there a fade or a dissolve? Are there any transitions available?
I wish. Cuts
Yeah, that
only.
would be nice. Like a magic move kind of transition, like in Ecamm, I've got this nice little, sweet little trend. Where is it? So here's this, and then I can kind of go to this. No, that's not going to work.
So you're touching on a very controversial topic in video production.
Really?
Yeah. So I cut between people. I transition to things like graphics or PowerPoint. But I almost always only do cuts only, unless there's some artistic or like I'm conveying something psychologically, like going from a person to a flame at a ceremony, or otherwise I mostly do cuts only.
Well, I agree that if let's say we've got this 1-up scene here, right? And I want to and I want to change that scene. I agree. I just want a clean cut there. Absolutely. I guess what I'm talking about is that if I'm going from, for example, a 2-up to a 4 with a slideshow, it's kind of nice to have a little bit of a, so here's a 1-up, and then I can get this just a nice little.
Yeah, that's more of a DVE thing, though, right?
Sorry, now
Digital video effect. Yeah. Anyways, I don't.
Sorry.
Television's part science and part art, right? So I mean, different people
Right.
will have different opinions about that.
Yeah. It's like
Well,
on.
they told us they
Go ahead.
told us a year ago we're never going to do the lower thirds thing, And then they sort of said, yeah, we're thinking about the lower thirds thing. And now we got the lower thirds. And they've always said, you know, fades and transitions, you know, we're probably never going to get there. And my guess is they will eventually put a switch and you'll be able to have one fade type or maybe two. And
From a streaming point of view, fades can often look bad if you don't have enough bandwidth.
Correct.
Oh. It's movement, it's motion. That's what really mucks everything up very often. I remember when I
It's like
first
my
started
shirt.
this, like your shirt, but 6 years ago, I remember my background. I used to have like moving stuff in my background, and people like, and it was just making everything a disaster. And so that, which brings us, by the way, back to Zoom a little bit, and the whole frame rate versus resolution between live video and screen share. John, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's fine, because you're going exactly onto what I'm thinking. Slightly controversial. When is it too much on Production Studio? There has to be a point where they say, we're not going to do anymore. Otherwise, they're just going to be feature creep into all the other products, and it's going to get very complicated. This is supposed to be a very simple interface for people to do high production values with simplicity. If they start adding all the features, there's going to be a point where it's going to get too complicated and people will stop using it. I'm not saying I don't like these features. I think a basic lower third is important, but there has to be a point where they say, we have to stop here. And it's going to be a difficult thing to do because, as Ray's correctly identified, they said they wouldn't do certain things and then they did.
But let me just add one thing and then I'll let Frank go. It's not that it's too big. It's not that it's too much stuff. In my personal opinion, it's because I've got clients who have volunteers who are going to run Production Studio in their sessions. If I can't take a person who's comfortable with a mouse and a keyboard and a Zoom screen, but knows nothing else technically, if I can't train them on Production Studio with a couple of hours of instruction and a couple of hours of practice, then it's too complicated. And I need that level of simplicity. Even if we come up with we've talked about this many times, the simple mode button. If we could turn the simple mode on, that turns off a couple of features that we don't want, or maybe if we even had a panel of features that we could turn off for an event and just go, you know what, I'm not going to have time to train everybody on how to use lower thirds and titles and all that stuff, and be able to turn those off selectively for an event. That would be of value to me if they're going to continue to add feature functionality to Production Studio. Right.
Oh, I agree with you. I think toggles in the settings before the show starts, where you can turn features on and off. If you've got advanced users, give them more tools. If they're not advanced users, don't have the interface show those tools. But that wasn't my question. My question was, what's it like to screen share media, not a slideshow, but like video, while you're doing this? So let's say one of your participants wants to screen show a video. What video controls show up for the person who are they the same ones that are in the Zoom meeting?
You don't mean screen share video, you mean player video.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Sorry.
If in your Dropbox you have them give you the video, you then build that in the scene.
Sure, that would be
Video player
optimal.
scene. Yeah, yes. And it's the only way to do it, in my opinion. Again, for my nursing conference, I had a couple of pre-recorded items that I just built into scenes, and I just hit play and they ran beautifully, because they don't run from your computer. They run from AWS, where everything's being put together. And I even had my Zoom Production Studio and everything crash on me. And then I rejoined. It was I think about a 20-minute presentation. And when I rejoined, it was still playing. And I just picked it up right from there.
That's
So
cool.
so yeah, if you get them to give you the video, and as long as it's an MP4, you just build it into the scene, and when it's time, you hit play.
My
Yeah.
camera is showing you that action now.
Okay. And are there any like volume controls or speed controls, or is
Yeah,
it just
when you have it playing,
Volume,
yes.
but not speed. Not speed, but volume.
okay? Does annotation work in Production Studio? Can people annotate their slides?
I've never tried.
I have to jump in about 5 minutes, so that may be something we have to try. We should try for next time. That's an interesting question. I have another question. So I was curious because I noticed that my name tag had a name. I didn't mean to jump off of your comment, Frank. I had a name and a description, and no one else did. So I went in to in-session branding, under live session, in-session branding, manage name tags. Was this it?
You got to go to the speakers, the
No, that
individual
wasn't it.
speakers.
Sorry, yeah.
And just
Yeah,
allocate them.
because you
Oh, here
you
it is.
did
No,
that
no, it's actually at the bottom. Sorry, speaker branding,
speaker
right
branding,
below
but you
manage
did
name
you did
tags.
the speaker branding, didn't you, before you added the other speakers? That's why they didn't inherit anything.
I guess so. But so now I went in and I was able to update these. Save. I guess my point is that just be aware that some things, we were talking about how you can't make changes because it won't, because you're in a webinar. I'm in a webinar, and it was over here. This is where this webinar is live. You're unable to edit or duplicate. You don't have that same warning banner and inability to make changes down here on speaker branding. I was able to make all these changes, but obviously they're not live, obviously.
Yeah, David, the easiest rule of thumb that I have is that anything you need to do in that interface, it's too late if everything
Right,
started.
exactly.
Period. End of
And
statement.
again, so for me, again, that's a weakness of this, because as much as I'd like to think that I'm a prepared kind of guy, if there's a typo in someone's name, I need to be able to change that on the fly.
David, David, let me turn that.
David, I've
yeah.
already corrected mine. Mine just had Ray H, and I put mine in. I just right clicked and said, change my own virtual name tag. And I went in and edited it, and it came up.
Yes, except now, if you look at yours and Robert's, they're not matching the styling that I chose for this webinar.
That's because I picked the other style. Do you want to?
So did I.
I'll go back and change it.
You can. Okay, so where did you do that? Where did you change?
I went to the panelist list and went to change name tag and virtual background. And if I pick that one and click apply.
All right, so this is participant list, panelist. Change name tag virtual background. Look at this. There it is. Yeah. Okay, so each individual can do it. Oh, wait, can I do it on your behalf? Let me see.
Yes, you can.
Probably can.
Look at that. Look at that.
I think this is the
You
point
can
where
change
my
it on
mother
the
would
fly.
say, too many chiefs and not enough Indians.
Well, yeah, I'm thinking the host should be able to lock
Yep,
the
there
style
it is.
so that people don't, you're trying to have universal branding and then someone says, oh, I'm going to do my own thing.
There is an option there to allow people to edit their name tags.
Robert,
It's
Mike.
hidden in the options of the event itself, not here. In the portal.
Oh, that's Production Studio. Sorry. Why is Ray? Are you not? You're just backstage? Oh no, you just came on stage. Wait, I'm confused.
I'm on
Robert
stage.
S. Yeah, you're on stage. Sorry, Robert S. Super awesome man. Okay. Now, where can I lock people so that they can't
It's in the portal itself.
remove? Oh, no, sorry.
When you
It's in the
set up
portal,
and
you think?
define, when you define the webinar, it's one of those options, and I can't remember where it
Right.
is.
But again, it's
It won't apply to this
Right.
ongoing
yeah.
To be very honest with you, I'm not even sure that it's at this level. If it's not at the whole
I'm actually
license level.
surprised that it's not in here. Like, I wonder it should be in.
Robert, you think it might be at the hub level?
Yeah.
It's in the event section,
No, here, I think I've got it.
meeting and webinars.
I think I got it in the meeting, so, or in the webinar rather. So if you open host tools, panelists and attendees, I can disallow you to rename yourself.
Will that stop me? Have you clicked
know,
it? Let me
let's
go and
try.
see if I can change.
Yeah, let's try that. Oh, no, that
I
didn't
just
work.
can't change my name. That applies to my
Oh,
name.
you can still change the styling. Ah, it's interesting. Okay. Yeah, that's something they should really build in to here.
I could actually change because you just had my initial for last name, but I actually
Yeah.
added my full last name and it's changed.
But you're a co-host.
Did I make you a co-host?
I'm co-host on the show, but I'm not. I
no,
don't think I'm.
yeah, no, he's not co-host on this. Yeah.
So that change name only affects the little black and white name strip, I think.
No, it actually, Robert. Oh. When I toggle that off, that they can't change the name, right? It only affects the Zoom name, not the lower third. Yeah.
Correct. It's called the tag, the name tag.
Name tag. Gotcha.
Huh.
Yeah, that would be a nice thing to have in here, so you can lock that and keep the styling, force the styling. Or if people start messing with it, you just turn them off. I mean, I guess that's the quick.
So now that we have three things, we've got the lower third, we've got the name tag. What is the little black and white tiny named thing actually referred to as technically? I don't have a term for that.
It's called the screen name as far as the code is concerned.
Screen name, okay. Where there are good terms, I like to use them, but occasionally I will complain about terms that aren't consistent.
You know what's interesting also is in the meeting itself. This is fascinating, actually. So in the meeting itself, which is over here, the usernames are not there. The display, the name tags are there, even though I've turned them off in Production Studio, and they're off in the production view. They're persistent on each individual's, and whereas if I click on Robert S., for example, in Production Studio on the username, the Zoom name, I get the profile card. But I can't do that over here in the meeting itself. This is just a little interesting.
I think I saw in one place there was a view profile card here, but
no, there is. If I click on the person,
gotcha.
I get view profile. But here in Production Studio, and I believe in meetings, let me pull down. This is the gallery for the meeting that we're in now. If I click on a name, oh no, it doesn't. Look at that. So when I click on a name in a regular meeting, nothing happens. I can click here and I can.
Yeah, we're not seeing your screen from the other computer.
Gosh. Oh, you know why? Yes, you are. You're not? You can't see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But so in a meeting, you can't click on that and get a. But in Production Studio, this is just odd to me. In Production Studio, you click on it, you get the profile. I don't know why you would ever do that in Production Studio. But then when you click somewhere else in Production Studio, you don't get the drop down that you get elsewhere.
Are you still a host in the main meeting?
I'm a co-host in the main meeting.
Dunno. Dunno.
Do you want me to make him host instead, Robert?
No,
No.
no.
Okay.
Well, all
Okay,
right.
just
I'm
to
gonna-
clarify the names. So you have been, I was just looking up in the account settings, the name is the person, the black and white little dildo. The name tag is what is on the sort of the branded part. And the lower third is something that is associated with a scene and not a tile, a video tile.
Frank,
Well,
what did you?
Nikki said that there were both, that there are lower thirds associated with individuals and lower third associated with a scene. There's supposed to be both, and I haven't explored that yet.
I didn't
Frank,
catch
how did
that.
you?
Mhm.
How did that profile card come up for you?
I just, anybody's screen name, I just click on it and it pops up a profile card for me.
See, that's what I had done also, but it wasn't working for me. That's really weird. Oh, you know what? I think I know why. No, that's not it. So I'm clicking on the screen names in our meeting, and I'm not getting that profile card. That's so interesting. I wonder why.
David, your screen of that Zoom is actually frozen.
No, it's not. It's a screenshot.
Oh, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Too many screens.
But you know what's interesting now? So in our meeting, when I click on a user, I don't even have a view profile option from the menu bar the menu that comes up. Here, I'll bring this down so you all can see. So here's the meeting that we're in. If I click here, I don't even have.
Are you in Ecamm or Real Zoom?
No, this is regular. Oh wait. Oh yeah. Sorry. I'm always in regular Zoom, except in order to do this demo, I had to be in Ecamm. You're right. Thank you. Sorry about that. Yeah. Because I only have one computer here. So. Yep. All right. Well, I am going to kill the webinar. It was a wonderful webinar, everyone. Thank you for presenting and speaking and everything that you did. It's just beautiful.
Happy July 4th, you American people.
Happy July 4th. Mike, my friend, your host.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You know how before we were talking about sometimes you can have too much when it comes to production and the fly-ins and the transitions. Mike,
Yes.
hit it.
And it went to the wrong screen just for David's sake.
Staged.
There you go. If you have any questions for us related to Production Studio, of course, and anything related to any of the other Zoom production related products, definitely let us know in YouTube chat. There you go. And no, you can't do that in Production Studio, what I just did. Okay.
Yet.
And then, which brings us back to what John was saying before, which is maybe let's be careful what we wish for, because
That's right. We're and John said an important word too, basic video switcher.
I don't completely agree. I think if they had toggles on the back end that said which features you wanted available in Production Studio, that would make a world of difference. Oh, you're not sophisticated at this? We won't give you everything.
This is the infamous argument that where's Mr. Ray? Mr. Ray, I need your help on this one. Whereas like we need a basic and we need an advanced tab toggle, right?
The rest of Zoom, like as a Zoom admin, I make these decisions for the whole, like with other people from my team, we make these decisions about what features are going to be available in a meeting, in a webinar, or whatever. It's the same sort of model, like.
Yeah.
And you can have groups, you can have different abilities for different groups.
No.
Agree to disagree.
I disagree. I think a harder question is I will give you follow up to what I said just now. So I said, when is there too many options for this? Because this is supposed to be an entry level. The follow-up question to that is, what do we persuade Zoom to do so these third-party products will integrate better with Zoom? Because at the moment, we have this major, major problem that we bring down all these video feeds, whether we get them through Ecamm or we use one of the others vanilla tools from Zoom to bring down all the content. We still have the problem that when we send the video back, where do we send it to? And the audio is going direct to the audience. So we're going to have the lag as well. That to me is the problem that they need to solve. How, I've got a few ideas, but how do you get effectively a production tool like any of the ones that we know in between the speakers and the audience?
I would just, John, I would push back on one thing. You said that production studio is meant to be, I forget the word basic, but Zoom events is not basic. I mean, getting into Zoom events, and I don't mean that as a dig. It's just not. I mean, it's quite complex in many ways, and production studio is an additional layer on top of that. So if you're doing anything basic, I don't think you're even touching production studio, to be honest with you.
Okay, let me spin it around another way. If Ray wants to improve Zoom events, and he does, there are APIs and there are calls that allow him to make enhanced versions of Zoom events. He can add stuff to Zoom events. The problem I have personally with Production Studio, it's a closed piece of software. And there's no way that we can get involved in it. There's no way we can interact with it. We either get it or we don't get it. All the other tools we've got for Liminal, all the other tools we have, we can take stuff, we can then process it in our own systems, on our own software, on our own hardware, and then we can put it back into Zoom. But the problem with Production Studio is it grabs all the speakers in its black box. It then regurgitates them however we want to, whatever options they give us, and then it spews it out. There's no way for us to get into that circle. There's no way for us to add to the value to that circle.
But it does that to address the very problem that you mentioned before, which is the sync issue.
But the sync issue, no, you see, because you've got to think of events as something different. The sync issue is not an issue in Zoom events, because you have all of us speakers hear each other in that pseudo real time that we are now. But then that's all collected in Production Studio, and then it's handed on to the audience. So the audience don't hear the way we hear. They hear a delayed version.
Yeah, agreed. Exactly.
So if we
that's
could
the problem.
So if we could take those live interactions we have, be able to process it and then give it to the audience direct, we wouldn't have those sync issues. Because although the audience will hear what's going on maybe 2 seconds later than we do, they won't know because it all arrives to them at the same time.
Right.
Whereas Production Studio at the moment,
I wonder if that's a meeting versus a webinar problem, because in meetings, all of the speakers are also in the meeting as individual speakers, whereas in webinar, they're not. And so that's maybe is less of a Production Studio. I mean, Production Studio fixed it, but there's also the webinar meeting.
A standalone webinar has the same type of delay that a meeting has. I mean, it's very minimal in general. It's only when you go to Production Studio, as John has said, it kind of gathers everything out, sends it out to AWS, AWS mixes it, and AWS sends it out, and there is a time delay there.
Oh, and webinar doesn't work that way?
I don't think so.
There is a delay in webinar as well. It is slight.
Is it more than what you get in meetings?
It's more than you get in meetings, less than you have in Production Studio, that's for sure. But are we really comparing a webinar with a meeting, or shouldn't a webinar be compared with a streaming situation more than with a meeting situation?
No,
'Cause-
perhaps. I think what we're talking about is, for example, if the six of you came into this meeting, I then I then over here in, I can't do it on the fly right now, but I created a scene in Ecamm and I brought you all into that scene, and then I wanted to push that scene in this same meeting to the audience. There's going to be a sync issue between audio and video because the audio is going direct, whereas the video is coming to me and then pushing back out to the meeting. In webinar, because the panelists are not in the meeting as individual participants, everything arrives in the meeting I think everything arrives. I know in Production Studio it works this way. Now I'm wondering if it's also in webinar. Everything arrives at the same time. I don't know if they're the same though, Production Studio and just vanilla webinar. It seems like it should be. It seems like in webinar, everything should arrive at the same time.
Yeah, I think it does. But the difference is that because Production Studio is processing all the bits and bobs, there is a slightly bigger delay before it sends it on.
Gotcha. But so
we don't have so we have a way of taking all the video sources and then
Right.
sending them out as one person, but we don't have any control on the audio sources. So there's no way for us to get that sync
Right.
back between the audio and the video because we'll always be slower
in meetings.
in anything we do. If we take video content down to our machines, process it,
Yes,
send it back
yes.
up, we've just added a delay. The
Right.
audio we can't touch. The audio comes
Right,
straight in and
right,
straight
right.
out. So that's where we get the lag.
Which is why the best practice when you're not using webinar is to have a speaker or a talent meeting that you then feed into your audience meeting, which of course breaks the relationship because there is no shared chat and things like that. Which is why Production Studio fills that gap so beautifully.
And also does Webinar Plus too. That's where the Webinar Plus comes into play too, that you don't have to have that where you're gluing two meetings together is really Webinar Plus. Right? Because you're having
Every
your
webinar
audience
is
in
that.
one meeting and
Right.
your panelists in one meeting.
Yeah.
So basically we're faking in one meeting a stage, which is
Exactly.
on stage, and we're faking the audience in another meeting, which is where the Webinar Plus people are coming in. That would be that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I,
so
I,
what I'm
I
trying
call
to
that a
say-
backstage feature, not necessarily Webinars Plus only, but yeah, that's a benefit of backstage.
Yeah, so I'm trying to look at where the change from Production Studio to all the more sophisticated production tools. So what I'm trying to hint at is, should Zoom give us a way to bring all those contents down using ISO or whatever we want to use, and then instead of Production Studio deciding what goes out to the audience, we stream directly to the audience from our piece of software.
So what's the difference in doing that, John, and getting Zoom ISO and Ecamm or vMix or something like that? I mean, I
can't
had
get it
this
in
comment
sync.
that I made. I had a comment on a guy on LinkedIn last week where he was talking about, what do you get for a $4,000 event and what do you get for a $17,000 event? And I jumped in and I went, some of your clients, what they spend on one meeting is the annual budget for some of my organizations. And he kind of went, oh, you're right. We do have to have, sort of these down level events that people can afford. And so from my perspective, if you've got to have all of that control over everything, Production Studio is not your tool. Don't take vMix or hardware editors or anything and try and integrate it into Production Studio and make that more complex. You've got
No,
Zoom
I'm not
ISO.
saying that. I'm
Okay.
not saying that. What I'm saying is we have this problem at the moment where if we use any of those tools, we can't use Webinars Plus with Backstage because the people that come on the stage and speak get sent to the audience. whether they're sent to the audience directly or they're sent to the audience through production studio, we can't chop them off when they're on the stage. What I'm saying is production studio is really neat and works really well because it's between the people on the stage and the audience, and it processes the content. What I'm saying is give us a way that we can RTMP or SRT or whatever protocol we're going to have, or even webcam, into production studio so we can create our own shows, but use the advantage of production studio that we can deliver the content and the audio at the same time to the audience. So there's no lags, there's no problems, and we can create as complicated graphics and overlays as we like. And we just use production studio as our delivery mechanism to shortcut straight into the audience.
What
I
do you
guess
need?
I don't understand why you would need to use production studio to that and you couldn't just stream directly.
Because I just want the easiest way of doing it. So if that's the easiest way of doing it, I'll take it.
So use RTMP into a panelist and just set that panelist on full screen with no tags and no name.
Yes, but you can't have the other panelists on the stage as you can in Events Plus or Webinar Plus.
I'm not understanding the
I might want a fancy layout, but I don't want to give up backstage. I don't want to have to throw out everything else. I have to throw out backstage. I can't use backstage. I can't use a stage. I can't see the chat. I can't see the polls because I've got to have them all in a completely different room now to feed into me so I can feed to the audience.
So the issue there is if you do separate those two groups, is just linking the chat and the Q&A, is that, and the reactions.
So if you separate the two groups, you're able to then decide what you send to the audience.
Correct.
Then yes, you keep the people on the stage so they have the same experience. It's just you've now become the production studio program that sends it out.
Okay.
You get all the chat because you're still in all the rooms. They're all still in the same event, so you're still getting the people that can be in backstage and be on the stage. That can all carry on working.
But if I understand you correctly, John, you're accepting the fact that you could have two separate events, one webinar and a second webinar where you have production studio, produce what you want, and then throw it at the attendees, as long as you can have the link, the channel link of chat, Q&A, and reactions. Is that correct?
Well, no, I don't want an extra event. I want one webinar that is running where backstage is backstage, the people on stage are the people on stage, but I want to cut the link between the people on the stage and the audience and be able to sit my app in the middle there. So I can choose what I take from the stage, and then I can send on to the audience what I want to send on to the audience. But all the chat and all the Q&As and all the other stuff can carry on working around me.
Okay, I hear what you're saying. Oh, that's like asking Zoom to cut themselves in two and allow you to put a piece between them.
Yeah, but how do we, you've all said, if we want to do it at the bigger level, we lose so many things. We have to chop out so many features to do that.
Well, it depends what you're looking for. It depends what you're looking for, because the way I'm looking at production studio at the moment and the lower thirds is being able to define an area where I'll be able to put in dynamic content. In other words, Q&A, selected chat messages. And if I want to bring someone on stage, I'll bring them on stage. But I can just about, sorry?
How do you bring the chat messages on?
Well, at the moment, what I'm doing is I connect up with Ecamm to the same webinar.
Right.
I can pick out the chats that I want, and I bring them in as a virtual cam, as a third or a second participant, which has a smaller screen size. I try to do it as a screen share, but it gets a little bit tricky with doing it as a screen share. The only challenge there is that because you're selecting what you bring on the screen, you have to have a second person doing that. That's why I said that I find it more and more complicated to be able to participate in an event in webinar, in Zoom Production Studio, and produce it, because because I'm like you having to add things on from the outside. But I think that's just a matter of time before that comes on.
Frank.
Go ahead, Mr. Frank. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Frank.
You know, for one person bands, you know, too much complexity would be daunting because you're trying to be a participant or a host or whatever. But maybe at some point Zoom will develop a model where you can have custom roles or some other roles where, like, hey, you're in charge of doing the TDing. Hey, if they ever build an ability to adjust other people's audio, hey, Mike, you're going to do audio only today. That's the only thing you have to focus on in this meeting. You're not going to be part of the meeting, but you're just going to fix audio issues as you see them. And maybe someone else would be doing branding or graphics, but that would mean that, you know, Zoom would have to make the concept viable of having multiple roles in a meeting that control different things, right?
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense too, Frank. And
Well,
again, it's very similar in the production world.
I've worked in some Fortune 100 companies where when we were doing a webinar, there was a TD, there was an audio person, there were 4 lawyers on a phone, there was someone doing the slides, there was a second slide machine. At the higher levels of corporations, they run their meetings this way. Everyone's on a set of comms. They may not even be in the same country, but there's someone directing the show from wherever they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. And I can see it too, where they have, you know, as an example, a role for production studio. That's all the person that when they actually come in as shall it be called a panelist at this current situation. So the panelist joins, but that panelist only has access for a production studio. And then you need to go from there to, you know, if you wanted to be added as a person that was allowed to be able to speak, then you had audio capability, video. So it'd be a lot more, you know, what does this role can do? Can this role have video on? Yes or no? Audio on? Yes or no? Access to production studio? Yes or no? Et cetera, et cetera. So it'll become extra tick boxes. Like
Sure,
that.
and to address Ray's point, which he's probably going to make better than I will, they have the concept of add-ons. You can pay extra, so you know the base model has something, and you pay extra if you're a Fortune 100 company.
Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
Well, and I'm not the main developer here. John, maybe you know the answer to this, but okay, so maybe Zoom decides, you know what, there's not enough money in that particular product for us or whatever. Isn't this something that somebody with the Zoom video SDK and a couple of components and use the Zoom infrastructure as the kind of the arm? Couldn't they create a product that
I think
just
they could.
rides on Zoom?
I think the question you're really asking is Zoom willing to host third-party applications on their servers? Because really, unless you are on a Zoom server running this application, you're always going to have that delay.
Yeah, but if you're going to have a webinar style thing and you are going to have everybody in studio doing stuff and you're going to somehow mix all of that and then you want to throw it out, but you want all of the people that get thrown to be able to click reactions and to hit chat and Q&A, that 1 second delay that maybe becomes a 5 second delay or maybe even longer if you're looking at streaming, the fact that they could use the Zoom infrastructure to put in their chats and that sort of thing. The panelists, it would take them a little bit of time to get used to, oh, that comment just came up, but it actually got entered in when I said something, 15 seconds ago. The panelists couldn't even watch the live feed. They could only watch what's in studio. I don't know. It would work. And Zoom already, my understanding is that if you use the video SDK, you're sort of paying a per minute charge to use their infrastructure. And as long as you continue to use their infrastructure at the participant level, the attendee level, I don't know. I see someone could make money with that. I'm not sure how much.
Sure.
Yeah, and before I'll add my 2 cents in here. Then John, I'll ask you to talk from the back end and see if this is actually possible with the SDK. When it comes to what Frank is talking about too, this is where I know Robert and I nodded as soon as we saw you made the comment about having third-party apps being next to their servers. It's similar to what we would already are doing in the production world, which is there, where you actually will have the software in the cloud scenario. But again, it's best if it's specifically, especially for Zoom, how close you are in that proximity, because yes, more hops, and I won't get into internet, but basically just take my word for it when I say the more hops you are away from the actual source, being a Zoom server in this case, getting all the feeds, the more delay you're going to add before you bring it into that instance in the cloud, then mix it, then send it back to Zoom. So that would be, even though you're still closer in the amount of hops you are and the resources, chances are, as long as you've chosen a proper in cloud instance, then you should not have any problems with that. But again, Frank's right, is that you would be basically best, and I'm coming from a server infrastructure guy that's done it for decades. If you're that server next to the actual Zoom server, the closer you can get to them, the better. And again, the more hops between each other, the more potential of there being problems too. But I think this is going to be, and I'm not going to steal anybody's thunder in this, but I think there may be something coming out soon that might actually rectify this a little bit. Not maybe 100%, but a little bit. There's a new technology coming out.
All right,
soon.
let's end the meeting so you can tell us.
Yeah, it's one of those. Go ahead, John. So explain from the engineering point of view.
Yeah, so
they're
I can tell
asking.
the secret that Mike can't, because he's part of the people doing it, and I just watch the press releases. So effectively, there is a protocol at the moment for allowing video products to communicate together in the cloud, so they can stream stuff into each other. So it's like an API for video streamers. That's sort of what's being thought of at the moment. And at some point in the future, Zoom's going to have to decide how they're going to integrate with that infrastructure. Because Zoom is a really nice company, but there's no way they can keep up for the number of different things we would like them to do in production studio. They have to at some point give up and let third-party apps come and do all the flashy stuff. And it's a question of when they do it. And I think it's the earlier they do it now, the better, because they will get those production products more integrated with Zoom. Take VizRT as an example. VizRT has introductions to Zoom. Its lower third product is worse than you could write, with all due respect, worse than you could write with the weekend using Uncle Claude. Their video introduction product is amazing, but it's $20,000 for hardware, $100,000 for software. So it's really, really the top end. All these lovely integration products we have, like Mimo Live and OBS and vMix, et cetera, all have this lag problem. And that makes them look bad, which makes Zoom look bad. And Zoom has got to find an easy way to fix this, because they don't have a big infrastructure team writing that production studio product. It's not even a full-time team. It's a part-time team. Nobody's told me that, but I know how Zoom works, and I know that they don't have a full-time team. They have to find a way to integrate with these other products, and the quicker they do it, the better they will look. And the smoother the change from webinars plus for production studio to professional, the smoother that is between those three stages, the easier it's going to be to persuade corporates to move from one stage to another to the other. There is no ingest option with Zoom video at the moment. We can get stuff out beautifully. There's a vMix plugin. You can bring it to vMix. Mimo Live is built reading the content straight out of Zoom. But putting that content back into Zoom, that's where they're really lacking on features at the moment. And it's very difficult to do. And it's always got gotchas when you do it. And that's what I'm stirring up trouble about, asking these questions.
No.
Because I want to see what sort of views you have on how we get that video, how we get that complete scene with all the overlays in the chat, how we get that back into Zoom without losing all the other Zoom features along the way.
Hopefully at Zoomtopia they'll hint at what they're going to do.
Right.
Well,
And
I could see,
Right.
I could see, I mean, given the fact that they've got the lower thirds now, and they actually said that, you know, we're not going to call them, I don't know, somewhere she said we're going to call them overlays instead. I don't see any reason not to have an overlay type or a switch or something that says for any scene, here's an overlay, and what's the source for that overlay? Is it an RTMP feed, or is it some other thing? An overlay that could have alpha channel and that sort of stuff. And you know, once you get that and the coordination between where is Zoom going to put people on the screen and where does my overlay need to put the tags and the labels and all that stuff on the screen, you know, then you're getting to the point where you can ingest all of that into Zoom and push it out.
I love the idea, but it's still a lot simpler just to send a video feed into Zoom and say, Zoom, this is it.
A video feed, yeah, that's the simple view. And like I said, you can make a video feed. What you can't do is make a video feed in the on-stage part of the webinar, not go out to anybody, but to go somewhere else and then twiddle with it and then send it out. What you're really looking for is a complete round trip between the controls that you have into AWS to send that feed to you somewhere, and then you be able to manipulate that before it goes out to the audience.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And again, of course, if you are going to do that, of course, lots and lots of bandwidth both ways. Lots, especially if you're going to bring it in-house. This is why it's a lot easier to do in the cloud, because especially if you're keeping it in, if you're actually throwing up an AWS instance, and we already know that Zoom is in AWS, then it's a lot cheaper, because they will usually, depending on the account you have with AWS, you can actually get unlimited bandwidth between each other. But again, there's a lot of manipulation and such that you would still have to work to make sure that you limit your again, every hop is going to be a delay of X amount of milliseconds, no matter what. So, you know, if we're starting to talk, you know, if everything is nice and it's only within 5 milliseconds of each and you're 10 hops away, that's 50 milliseconds automatically coming in, not including all the processing you've got to do and then send it back out again. So there is going to be, you know, where again, Zoom meeting is sub-millisecond in most parts. So take that as you will, to make sure that we have the capability of being able to talk to each other as if we are literally in front of each other.
You know,
Cool.
that thought occurred to me, I don't know, 3 or 4 or 5 minutes ago, is you want to solve the delay problem, get everybody in one space.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Or just
And Dave-
process your video faster.
Oh, yes. Yes, that was John and I had an interesting conversation about processing video today, but yes, earlier today. But yeah, basically when it comes to video processing, yes, make sure that whatever equipment you are using, as I mentioned during our show today too, hardware or software-based switching, that you have all the capabilities for the frame rates and the resolution rates that you are running. If you do not push that gear to something that it can do that it was never made to do when you built it or got it. So that's my honest opinion when it comes to that type of stuff, is people will easily overdrive their systems, not realizing that, oh, well, the software's letting me do it. Hardware's not going to let you. The software can let you do it until you want to. So, go ahead, Frank.
Luckily, RAM is so cheap right now.
Isn't it though? Isn't it though? RAM and yeah, let's not talk about hard drive space for all those 4K 60 videos too.
Graphics cards are so cheap right now.
I know. Yeah. and everybody needs at least two now because you got to offload, because the amount of RAM on the actual single GPU is not enough. Got to have those dual graphic cards.
John, can I just come back to your question, because you've really got me thinking. I can understand why we as a community would be interested in being able to do what you're talking about, but who would we be doing that for?
Was that
Who are you talking to? Yeah.
Yeah. Go
To
for it.
John. To John.
All right.
Who's that client
Who's
who's
the
going to
customer?
that's going to buy that service?
All those corporates.
No, I
You can
can't see
take-
that.
You can take the webinar to another level if you have that kit.
You just buy a TV
But you
crew.
can't expect Zoom to produce, their own version of VisRT. They need to get VisRT to integrate. They didn't produce their own version of Vimo Live. They helped Vimo Live produce their own kit.
But
But it's all taking data out. There's no the ability. Zoom is all about extracting. You've got RTMS, you've got RTMP. It's much harder to actually put content back into Zoom to process through.
I understand that, but I'm just looking at who's going to want to pay for a service like that, because the corporate world usually don't have an AV for production inside their organization.
Lots of them do.
But they're limited from what I can see. They do a lot of recording, post-production. They have a limited amount of live production that they do outside of the meetings. And when they do, they bring in someone because they never store that sort of equipment that they need to produce that sort of event. That's my experience anyway.
Where I work, we have a whole television production team that does webinars or hybrid webinar events for clients all the time. And we use Zoom ISO, and we use Stream Decks, and we use professional video cameras and professional audio mixers and professional microphones, and we'll tow in lighting if we need to. So, I mean, it's out there. You're probably right, because you deal with a lot of different people I probably don't deal with, but yeah,
But
it is happening.
Frank, you just repeated what I heard Robert say, and that is, who would buy that? And you said you guys do this production for other people. And so those people would not be the customers who want to buy this service.
But we might.
People like you who do a lot of this stuff would, you would be the bigger aggregator, shall we say, of who the client base would be.
We before Zoom ISO was included in Zoom events, we were paying for it as standalone products, multiple licenses of it, because we have concurrent events happening all the time, right? So we have multiple teams doing. So we were paying for additional software, and I could see us continuing to do that. But a lot of the people I work with also freelance, do side gigs, and they're bringing those skills to the corporations that hire them.
That's my point, Frank. The corporations actually bring in those skills. It's not a skill that they have because they don't utilize them on a daily basis.
I agree. It depends on the size of the corporation. Like if you're talking a 50-employee corporation, then yeah, they're just going to hire an AV company to come in. But if you're talking big corporations that have, Fortune 100 companies, they definitely have people like this. Think of General Motors or Ford or BMW or Sony or whoever, I don't know, people who have deep pockets, they have internal production teams. The wealthy people can afford the best. Yeah, that's always been true.
And Dave did mention too on YouTube, Robert. I'll get back to you in a sec. Yeah, I just wanted to throw in David's comment too, because it's relative. David B from New York is telling us on YouTube too. He says, same here. All of our town halls are produced as a TV show. So yeah, go ahead, Robert. Continue.
That's my point. It's as a TV show for someone. Yeah? The Davids of the world are producing them, just like Frank saying that they're producing them for someone, because even I don't see this, that even the very, very big organizations don't have a specialized AV production organization within their businesses. And the reason I don't see it is because those very, very big companies are multinational. So they'd have to have an instance of whatever that is in every single country, not to mention city for the larger countries. So I don't see it. I don't.
I don't know. I do see it, but I think the way cash is constrained right now for everybody, they may pull back on the extravagances right now, but maybe when times are better in the stock market, there'll be a resurgence of that. But I think for a lot of models, I see people, what they do is they do a lot of their, like they'll just have a Zoom meeting if it's a weekly occurrence. But then when they're having something special, like maybe once or twice a year they have an event, then they'll call up our production team and say, this is very important. It has to be done at a high level that we don't know how to do, or we're not sophisticated enough to do this. And we're willing to, pay to have you guys run the thing for us, right?
And Robert, that's a perfect segue to what I was going to say too, is that, so who are the customers for what John is talking about is you, so that you can offer it for your customers, because you're the one that they're going to come to make sure that their event looks better than them doing it themselves and as an amateur. So if you have all the tools available to you that you can do quote unquote anything, and I don't like using that terminology because it's not necessarily true, but that would be basically what I would suggest too, is that what John is talking about is not only just for the corporates as well, but it's for the companies that the corporates hire. Because there's a lot of right now, even especially in Canada, when I talk to our dealers from coast to coast to coast, they go, Mike, oh, I'm hearing about you doing all the Zoom stuff. And I'm going, uh-huh. And we're like, yeah, we do it too. I said, what do you do? And then they go, well, we just use this and we screen scrape. And I'm like, you're still screen scraping? There's all of these, where like, and these guys are getting hired by the big companies, but yet they have no clue what Zoom ISO is, right? So there is that big gap still even in the AV market for production companies, that who is part of the Zoom Test Kitchen community actually has a leg up on a lot of AV companies, especially in Canada, because a lot of them are looking for specialists like us that they can actually third party out to, because they have no skill set whatsoever in-house for that they know that they need, but yet they're just winging it when they come. Oh yeah, I'll get a Zoom license. I'll get a pro license so that I can at least connect up to it and set up this meeting so that they can at least do the event. Great. And they're getting away with it, but they're getting paid lots of money to do so. But what they're doing is, and this is where John's coming into play with this too, is that right now they're just bringing everything into the workplace app for the most part. None of them have no idea what Zoom ISO was, Zoom OSC, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. They're using Companion, most of them. Most of them are running Stream Decks, but again, they're only doing it for their audio equipment or video cameras. They have no clue whatsoever that there is any Zoom integration for the most part, unless they've run into, Zoom Test Kitchen or one of John or my shows, which some of them are starting to come to more and more now, because they're like, oh, I didn't know I could do this. It's the infamous, oh, I didn't know Zoom could do this for me. So yeah, so this is where I see, John, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is where you're talking about in the middle of where you would want something like an SRT feed coming into production studio, where if I still need to make that additional mix outside of what I'm producing in-house, that I could actually add that. And we sort of done that. We sort of did that a little bit today when John was actually using his ATEM locally, but he was bringing it in as a panelist video, where you doing it through the workplace app, where he was bringing that in as a video feed. But that easily could have, instead of having it come in as a workplace app feed, it should have come in as an SRT feed as a video source for me instead. So that, because again, he was producing everything from the ATEM. where the ATEM could easily do RTMP or SRT. Go ahead, Johnny. Oh yeah, go ahead, Robert. Go ahead. Then I'll show what John's showing.
And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying I don't want the tools. I'm just saying that I don't see. I'm trying to imagine who out there, if those tools were to go out to the corporations, who out there wants them. I can't visualize that.
Even corporate AV firms who are being hired in for 2 events a year would want to have those tools and then charge back for them so that they could outcompete their competitors and say, look at the product we can give you.
Absolutely. I can see that.
Cool. So Johnny, show your ATEM off.
So this is an ATEM running SuperSource. So I've got 2 little boxes. One is the camera of me, that camera of me. The other one is a HDMI capture of the computer over there. We were talking about events earlier, so that's why it's got the event screen on at the moment. And there's a bit of SuperSource. Now, all I'm saying in very simple terms is we've all got these, and we've all got these ridiculously low cost compared to what they're paying out in the corporate world. Yeah, thousands of dollars. We've got some very simple content that we can create on vMix, on OBS, on Emo Live, on any of those tools. We can mix stuff together, but we can't put it back into Zoom. There is no easy step from built-in Zoom to running externally. When you're running externally, you've got all these other issues, and Zoom hasn't fixed those issues, which seems stupid because it just puts off those third-party companies of integrating anymore with Zoom. I mean, I don't care if they don't bother doing it because I can do it. By the way, I've got a graphics program. I can put lower thirds on all your machines while you're in the meeting with me. It's on a program downstairs. It's going to be demonstrating it to Zoom on Monday. So I can do all this, but it's just very difficult. It's very easy to get things out of Zoom. It's very difficult to put things back into Zoom. And do I have to throw away all of Webinar Plus or all of events because I can't get my mixed feed to be in sync with my audio? Don't you all feel how stupid you are when you do a Mimo Live and OBS and all these, and the audio is half a second behind? Sorry, the audio is half a second ahead of your video. Don't you all feel a little bit unhappy about that? Doesn't it look bad? Isn't it something our brains can't even cope with? Because we can cope with the audio after the video, but we can't cope with the audio in front. And yet Zoom gives us no easy way to get around it. Because yes, I can send an RTMP feed into Zoom, but I've still got all the other people who are in the room. And now I can't use their audio because they'll be out of sync with me because they're not coming through me. They're not flowing through my workflow. And yeah, if you think I feel a little bit niggled, I am. It seems to be the simplest step up from what they've got now to all these other third-party tools, because it doesn't matter how many Zoomies you get. Well, look, frankly, you're not going to get that many Zoomies running events because we've already agreed that these are still the edge cases. There is not enough money for Zoom to keep building up Production Studio. So Zoom, give up Production Studio, leave it where it is, and give us an easier way that we can use all these third-party tools and make them the step up from Production Studio. Because then they don't need to develop it at Zoom. We get a selection of all the products and it's all delivered.
Actually, I don't want them to give up Production Studio. I quite like Production Studio, and I like
you've
the
just
fact
told
that
me that there's not enough people using it and not enough use cases to justify them spending the money.
No, to justify doing what you are suggesting, John. I'm saying that in this form that it is, and it's at this level of, I won't say simplicity, but complexity, there are people who will use it. And the more and more complicated it becomes, the more that has to be moved across to purely dedicated AV people, just like any production. But in this form that it is, I can see a lot of people using it. Most of the work that I do actually get people to learn how to use it and start doing it themselves more than I do people coming back to me to do another thing for them. I really don't want to see production studio go down the pipe. It's for me, it's just it's in the cloud, it's safe, and they're still building it slowly but surely in what I feel is a good direction.
Right. Let me actually ask you this, Robert. If you had the capability, instead of, let's say you were doing some additional production, and let's say you had the capability of sending, let's go very simple and say an SRT feed into Backstage from your production equipment, would you want that capability?
I can't see the use case of it at the moment.
So you don't do any external mixing on site?
We do hybrids, which is one thing that is really tricky to get your mind around. But we keep those like two separate meetings that we pass things across. Yeah? It's just like the old Zoom way of having a separate meeting for the speakers and a separate meeting for the audience to get that production link in between. But if I'm just doing something that's purely online, I haven't come up with a use case to be looking for bringing someone in that way into the event. I know the restrictions. I know I can't do everything that I want to do on Zoom Production Studio, and there's no discussion about that. But I don't have that use case.
Right. Okay. Because the reason I'm asking about that is that it is quite popular for currently what a lot of the production in the cloud to do now is that from Venue, you will send up a produced feed, be it a single camera, be it a switched feed, a switched program feed from the actual physical location. It will come up SRT into the cloud and then get mixed in the cloud to actually be sent out. This is, again, we're not talking Zoom here at this point. I'm talking productions, right? But again, this easily could be translated to, I've got a Zoom Workplace app in, or I've got a camera at the physical location as an example, okay? Going into a box that has the capability of sending SRT feed from the location out. Now I'm sending that SRT feed out to the cloud. In this case, should be Production Studio. Now I'm bringing that camera in, instead of having it to worrying about it actually being a Zoom Workplace app at the location. Now it's an SRT feed at that location coming into Production Studio as a video source that now can be brought in as a panelist.
Are you suggesting that some Production Studio should be in the same class of production tools that are being used by AV people that are producing very, very large events, that everything is happening in the cloud? That's not the way I perceive Production Studio.
If you think about it depends on the complexity of what you're mixing, right? So if you are talking, and I'm going to use Frank a little bit on this too, coming in from the production world too, you could actually make it very, very simple where I have, 3 corporate head offices that have, instead of making sure that they all have Zoom Workplace apps and PCs at their location, now I just send an SRT box and a camera. And now that SRT box is now coming back to, SRT has a capability of getting into Zoom Production Studio. Now it's a source in, so I've got now the 3 different locations zooming in, pun intended, sort of there, as SRT feeds, but not as Zoom Workplace app feeds into Production Studio. And now I'm mixing it as if it is 3 individual people that are 3 individual cameras that are using Workplace app. So now I can actually have the combination of, now I've got an SRT feed in Production Studio, and I've also got uh, uh, um, a regular Zoom workplace app in that. The only issue that would be the problem is, of course, SRT is one way. But again, let's get out of the complexity of it being two-way. Let's get it in the complexity that it only needs to be a one-way situation. So if it's an SRT feed into Production Studio, then, would that assist you in any of your events? I guess at this point, no. We maybe not, or you might not have actually thought of doing something that way.
Well, no, because if we're doing, for example, we did an event recently that was in, late last year, we did an event that was in 18 different locations throughout Europe within a certain organization. And we trained their staff on site with their equipment to get on and do what they needed to do. So to answer your question, do I see the need? Oh, I've frozen again. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. I was going to mention that too. We were hearing your audio fine.
Well, that's interesting.
But the green box that I have has you, Mike, highlighted. So the active speaker is still you, even when Robert's talking. That's weird.
Yeah,
because
but
I
we all
just don't
heard
have
Robert,
a video
right?
Yeah, because I don't have a
Yeah, I
video
heard him.
feed. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that was weird. So everybody on
Okay.
YouTube, you did see me while
You're
Robert
better
was
now.
talking, but for whatever reason, Zoom did not want to switch to Robert, but Robert's back. Go ahead,
That's
Robert.
interesting because I didn't even do anything with the camera or the hardware. I just toggled the camera on and off in Zoom. Whatever.
Okay.
Yeah,
so back to SRT from a venue or SRT from a person, or instead of it being the complexity of, and even though workplace is not really a complexity, but it sort of is, if you actually had everything in, again, some cameras actually have SRT built into them. So you could actually just send the actual camera out there as long as it's got an internet connection. The SRT, you just have to get some way to actually go into the camera, initiate the SRT connection from that location. Then you've got that as a source coming into your production studio. John, this is sort of an example of we're talking about, right? Or still something differently again.
Sorry, I was on another planet. I just thought of a great workaround.
All right. Okay. You want to go down that road, or you want to, sure, wherever you want to go with this.
No, it's okay. I'll keep it to myself until Monday.
All right. All right. So another new app that's getting worked on this weekend. Did I hear that already? Okay. All in favor? Okay. So there we go. No, but again, so yeah, so basically, I can see it. So it would be, so everybody that is used the Zoom Events platform, we all know that we could actually send an RTMP feed to the lobby, right? So this would be an additional extension of, now I sent it to the lobby, great. Can I actually bring it into production studio too? So it'd be, so even if they at least give us RTMP, never mind SRT, even though it'd be better because latency would be a lot less, but let's say they can even give us an RTMP feed into Backstage that we could bring on stage and then use as a source. Either way, go ahead, Ray.
Yeah, I don't operate in the circles that you guys operate in. And so, I break things down into, my little tier 0 level. And you've got a person remote, and you need to have a camera in front of him, and you need his audio and video to come into Zoom. And you're willing to go, screw Zoom, let's get together a camera and an SRT system and a whole bunch of stuff and send it out there, and a tech to set it all up and a tech to get it all hooked up and make sure that they've got the right internet connections and all that sort of stuff, and bring, an SRT feed into a place that, Zoom has to create us a path to get that SRT feed in. And I'm saying, if you've got the money, you'll create a TV satellite signal or whatever and get it from remote to here and operate like ABC, CBS, or NBC. Or if you've got an organization with a $50,000 a year budget, you'll go, do you even have like a Chromebook with a built-in mic and a camera on it? You know, I'll send you one. They're $150. I'll send you one, and all you have to do is turn it on, lift the lid, and smile. You know, I I know that once you crawl up the tier level to, you know, way more money than I've seen in my lifetime. Let's go. I want it to be SRT because I can shave, and I'm, you know, being facetious, because I could shave a couple of milliseconds off the delay time, and I want to feed it into here. And for my people, it's like, you know, the first question out of many of their mouths, if they've never worked with me before, is, "You don't use Teams, do you?" I go, no. Everything I do is Zoom. Everything I do is Zoom. I have a couple of tools that I use to help me out, but everything I do is Zoom. You want to have someone speak from Germany into your American meeting? I can handle that. So yeah, I mean, you know, I know that more complicated things need to be done, and things with, you know, much better quality than what I put out can and do need to be done by a multi-trillion-dollar company. But for those of us who frequent the Zoom community and are doing our best to get by with, you know, using Zoom as a tool, and you know, have a little fun, and be able to go home and spend some time with the family on the weekend. I certainly don't need it. I'm happy to listen in on the conversation, but I still don't hear, from my perspective, a marketable use case that if we spent plenty of time to put this together and tried to sell it to people, how many people would be using it, and how much would they pay, and how much would we have to make in order to keep it ongoing, viable, and usable? I don't see that, and that's just me.
Understood. Yeah, go ahead, John.
5,000.
Which
5,000
question are
users
you
or
asking?
$5,000?
Well, it's £5,000. It's worth more than $5,000. There's £5,000. Crisp £50 notes. Could put a system together. That would be enough to buy a £2,500 PC. Install vMix 4K. That's £700. Put a video card into it to accept the video feeds in and out. That's £600. Still got change for my £5,000. I think you're under the impression that we either use Production Studio or we need 50 grand. There are loads of 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 type products you could put together to bring you much more production than poor little Production Studio is ever going to be able to do, because they've had years to produce those products, and Production Studio has been around for a couple. So they're always going to be far ahead. And I could do so much more with just a copy of vMix and maybe an ATEM.
Yeah. One of the
But what
vMix,
I can't do is I lose everything else in Zoom when I put it back into Zoom, because I have to put it back into vanilla Zoom.
Yeah. If you've got what we like to have is an interactive thing, Zoom is the piece. You know, one of the vMix Facebook groups that I follow, these guys are doing soccer games and football games in the US and college and high school and do my church and all that sort of stuff. And I've got vMix, or I've got, you know, and they do wonderful stuff. But if you want the real interactivity, yeah, Zoom's the place to do it. I think we all agree with that. And how do we produce our best possible Zoom thing? Just that's the best thing I can come up with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it doesn't need
Roland's
much
here.
bandwidth, because you only need to download the people you're speaking, and you only need to upload one bandwidth to go out to the system. So it's not a, you know, I need 100 megabit down, 100 megabit up situation. You don't. You just need a good quality uplink, and then you've got 3 or 4 speakers on a stage. You bring them in as 3 or 4 speakers on a stage. You've got a group of speakers on a stage. we've got Zoom tiles.
Yeah.
So we've got all the tools to bring the data down. What we don't have, it's only like a record that keeps returning now. What we don't have is a good way to put it back into Zoom afterwards. And I think I have a way of doing it. So I'm going to try and persuade somebody on Monday that I've got a way around it.
And we'll see how far you get, John. Is that what you're telling us?
No. Otherwise, I just have to get a copy of that Claude program and just recode Production Studio myself.
Yeah. Cool. All right. And this one's for David's sake. If you have any questions for us on YouTube, let us know in chat.
Don't tell us we can't do animations, because we just did.
That's right. And that was an ATEM using media pool.
Just
Go
to
ahead,
be controversial,
Frank. Sure.
I don't think it would be that hard, and I don't mean that I could do it, but I don't think it'd be hard for Zoom to capture the emojis and the chat and have those as sources in Production Studio and alpha key them like someone said earlier.
No, I can
You
do it
could
already.
do that with Zoom Graphics Toolkit.
Yeah, well,
You could bring in Zoom Graphics Toolkit as an overlay to somewhere, to one of the sources. Then you've got that covered.
I just wonder how much, like, there's good arguments on both sides. I wonder how far Zoom will extend Production Studio. Would they build that functionality in, or will it always stay outside,
My opinion is that I feel that them dabbling into the lower thirds, that potential of a little more graphics might be coming.
I think they're testing the water to see how well this is received, and the fact that they can do the lower third graphics. There's no reason to not make a full screen graphics based on another source, and to be able to, I don't know, maybe there's a thing beyond screen share, video player, and image. There would be a second source scene type that you could pull in, one, keep it simple, one extra scene from another source that would be an overlay, and be able to do that on a per scene basis. Or maybe you could make it an overlay that is scene independent. That would be nice to have that sort of functionality. If anybody at Zoom's listening, an overlay that could either be per scene or scene independent, that could have whatever we want overlaid on what's going out. And
it could be like Wirecast, and years ago, Wirecast had layers, right? It was very much like Photoshop. You would just have one layer that rode on top of every other scene, and you could turn it off or on, right?
Yeah.
That's exactly how Mimo Live is, the architecture of Mimo Live is. But I got the impression that when we spoke with Nikki this week, that she said that this is just the very beginning of the overlays, and that the editing part of it is something they're working on. But for the growth and the usage of it, they want to see how it's going to turn out before they actually decide which way to go. But just having to start off, if we can have the overlay as in the lower third across the base, the bottom of the whole of the scene, in a form that we can have a dynamic overlay. In other words, we do a feed in there, whatever it is, a URL from Zoom Graphics Toolkit or whatever it is, works for me.
Cool. And Mr. Jamaica, come on in, Roland.
Well, it's afternoon here. But yeah, it sounds like we're talking about some features that are basically there already. It's just a matter of whether they want to bring them into the mainstream Zoom meeting, because you have Zoom, the graphics toolkit. You have in Zoom ISO, you can already put the the overlays or the lower thirds. You can put them left, right, and you can add an image if you want. You can add a full image. You can resize the image already. If you're using the active speaker in Zoom ISO, it already allows you, it will dynamically change when the speaker changes. So it sounds like it's already there. It's just a matter of how far they want to move it into the different products.
Or when they move Zoom ISO into the cloud so that those features are available for other products.
There you go.
Mr. Frank.
Another potential clue is in Zoom meetings when they introduce layouts, and you could drag the layout window around and you could scale it. If they can do that in meetings, then they could probably do it in Production Studio, so it wouldn't necessarily be constrained to one place. And who knows? I don't know what they'll do, but I think it's possible if they decided it was worth it, they could do it.
Same, I agree.
Yeah. And again, John and I know a lot of the stuff, again, a lot of capabilities that you guys are using in Zoom ISO, Zoom OSC, we're seeing in the SDKs and the APIs. So it's not that there's a lot of this stuff is not there. If you're willing to make it, then of course a lot of this stuff is already there. Absolutely. So when it comes to them increasing this stuff and adding more to the SDKs and more to the APIs, because that is where eventually all the other programs, it's going to all trickle down. It has to get into them first before anything will be able to use anything. And I mean anything from Mimo Live to vMix to even Zoom ISO and Zoom OSC. If it's not in the SDKs, if it's not in the APIs, there's not going to be any capabilities of you guys being able to grab certain items from there. I'll just throw that out there too. So yes. So if it's already, chances are, if it's already in one of the products like Mimo Live or Zoom ISO or Zoom OSC, then chances are it's already been pushed into the Zoom SDKs and the APIs, ready to be utilized in whatever form. If you want to get into a bit of Zoom developing, then you could actually do all kinds of wonderful things.
Well, I'm sure Zoom is like most companies that are high tech. They probably have a testing division or skunkworks or whatever, and they probably have private servers where they test prototype and see what they like. And no? Okay.
Go ahead, Johnny.
Frank, you're their skunkworks. You do realize that, don't you? That's why
We're their unpaid focus group. I know that.
Yeah, exactly. They bring out a feature and then they just leave it there and see if anybody uses it. And if they use it, then they'll develop it further. And if
but I mean, when something's a prototype, you're not going to put it into a public API or public SDK. You're going to, play with it in-house first, right?
Oh yeah. Some of the latest Production Studio things, the events team have been playing with for a while before it went on general release outside.
Right, John, but
I can only say that because one of the Zoom employees said it on a public forum, so I'm quite happy to repeat it.
Right, so John and I can't say any more than that. That's as far as we can go, though.
No, but there was a public meeting. Ray was at it as well, I think, when a certain person with a name similar to mine actually said, I've been playing with this for a while, and now you can get to play with it. A lot of their AI stuff they've been playing with for months, for an example, and they've been trying to find what they can use it for, and then once they found some useful uses, they embedded it in Zoom and gave it to all of us. And if we don't use those features, they won't develop them anymore. And if we do those features, they'll just start adding new features to whatever they have. But of course, the secret is if you really want to succeed and you want a feature in Zoom, all you need to do is spend $150,000, $200,000 on an annual license with Zoom, and you ask for it and they will sort it out for you because you're paying the money. And it's the big corporates that are driving most of the features. And that's why it's interesting to see which of these big corporates are going to take on all these big Zoom events, things that we've been talking about today.
Zoom also has a team called professional services that you can hire to make things happen for you if you're willing to pay the bucks that it costs to make that sort of thing happen.
Do they still have that team?
Oh, have you heard that they're gone?
Not so much in the
Well-
Zoom events, but there's lots of development. They're called developer advocates, who will help you with software and add-ons and things. So they're all around still.
I know that the Zoom Zoom events professional services team has been, I want to say, just shaved down considerably.
Yeah, the team I'm talking about wasn't for events. It was for, let's say you want to deploy SSO and you don't have anybody at your organization who's good at SSO or other
Yeah.
kind of integrations. They will come in for an hourly fee plus some sort of retainer fee, and they will do those kind of things for you if you're not capable of doing. But most places that want those features probably have someone on staff who can do it for you much cheaper.
Yeah. And again, too, as John was talking about too, is as you get up into those levels too, you also have, you become what they almost call, back in the day, we used to call it a key account specialist. So you have a CAS person, key account sales specialist, or a key account tech specialist. So that if you do have direct issues, that person, you reach out to that person, then that person gets it figured out for you.
We have paid for Zoom and other companies, people called TAMs, technical account managers, and that's not your sales rep. That's more like an advocate in the company to push your issues forward. And they also brief you on what's coming and help you understand it.
Right. And it's their job to make sure that they keep you happy on a technical level, Frank.
They'll escalate you to engineers and stuff if there's a problem that, regular support is taking too long. There's a bunch of things they do, but it costs money to have that white glove service too, right?
Right. Yeah. And again, with Zoom too, you would have to be up in levels to be able to get that type of service as well. But John's right. If you are at that higher level and you do ask for that feature, chances are you will get it sooner than somebody that just has one pro account.
And it's not negative because everything that they drive, what I love about Zoom is everything that they drive at the corporate level, eventually it filters down to the rest of us. It might be that it's got a cost of of operation and therefore they have to charge a subscription. But we were talking on Tuesday's show about telephones, Zoom phone, and all the ways you can create effectively a virtual PBX in your organization. And when I say in your organization, you can do it on a pro account if you have enough people and phone lines to do it with. You don't have to be a corporate with 10,000 lines. You can do the same call management features with a pro account with a couple of you people, with a one incoming phone line, and you can have an extension for 3 different departments, and there's only 2 of you in the company. And you can do that. And you can have, your marketing department can stop at 4 o'clock. Your accounts department stops at 2 o'clock because you never want to pay any bills. And you can have your technical support, or maybe your sales department will stay on to 9 p.m. because, we're happy to take your money any time of the day. So, and that is all in the phone system. As I said, whether you're at the top of the tree with Zoom or the bottom of the tree. So it all filters down. So I'll always encourage the big corporates with all these great ideas, because I know they've got more leverage to get them set up and get them working. And then we can all take advantage of it later. Zoom wasn't listening to that bit, were they? Zoomies, forget what I just said. Thank you.
I've got an automated attendant that every time I take a survey or anybody wants it, I put that phone number in. And hi, I'm Ray Harvard with Good Clicks. If you don't know who I am and you want to speak to me, press 1 and it goes straight to voicemail. If you're a salesperson and we don't have an active relationship, not really interested. But if you've got, and then there's a couple of answers there, and it really has cut down on the number of spam calls that I get, because I only give my personal number out to people that I really want to call me. So $5 a month, you get an extra phone number, and you just make that your corporate phone number. And you can tell people that it's not on the menu, but if you press 6, you can come direct to my desk.
You heard it first. Press 6.
And guess what? Ray will be able to change that right after the show.
It's not 6.
But he could.
When we press 6, it's going to be, oh, so you heard my misdirection about 6 on the show. Yeah.
Thank you for watching the Zoom Test Kitchen.
Ray's got an agent set up on extension 6 that's sitting in all of the Zoom support documents and just responding.
That's the next thing I want to try when I've got a spare 3.5 weeks with nothing else to do. And that is the virtual agent that, when they reach that, you can have questions asked and response and all that sort of stuff. See, my problem is I dive into something like that, like I'm trying to do now with workflows and webhooks. And every time I turn around, it takes me 3 hours of research to find the answer that is, no, I'm sorry, you can't really do that here. And then I have to find another way. So I've been working with that for.
Yeah. So officially you have to find a voice that says, sorry, Ray, you can't do that right now.
Yes.
Yeah. When cloud, you go to cloud or your Anthropic or whatever to do that stuff, it says, sorry, Ray, that can't happen right now.
Can't do that. Can't do that, Dave.
Yeah. Cool. Take care, Robert. Thanks for joining us from Poland. Have a good evening. Good sleep. Cool. All right. Going to our friends on YouTube one last time before we wrap it up. If you have any questions for us, let us know in chat, and we will do our best to let everybody know the answer to your question before we wrap it up for this Independence Day edition of Zoom Test Kitchen. So Ray, as our one and only US person, what is your evening looking like? Are you going to be doing anything exciting when it comes to the weekend?
Well, my wife was asked to work today and tomorrow.
Wow.
So, normally I would expect to see a lot of fireworks tonight, and we would stay up late and kind of go out on the lawn in spite of the fact that it'll be 100 degrees. Look at the beautiful fireworks. So maybe not tonight, but tomorrow night, we'll go out and see the actual 4th of July. But there will be a lot of people tonight. I'll be primarily staying home in my house, safe. I'll have the garden hose outside because there will be people in the neighborhood that ignore my HOA signs that say aerial fireworks are illegal in the city of Avondale, and the fine is $1,000, and the police are out in full force looking for people to write tickets to. Aerial fireworks, no, don't do that. And I just want everybody to be safe. Yeah. That's more than you wanted to know, isn't it?
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. No, we wanted to know. And John's definitely got me intrigued here. And I'm trying to figure out why he's playing with overlays, but or he's playing with reactions. What are you doing there, John?
Missiles.
Oh,
You're muted,
and
John.
I swear he'll tell me as soon as he finds that mute button again on the stream deck.
I'm waiting to see what fine I get for firing rockets out over Ray's image.
5,000 pounds exactly.
Yeah.
Too funny. Yeah, there it is. There's the 3. There it is.
All right. I'm going to be right back.
Uh-oh. Look out. Ray's going to, I don't know what Ray's going to do. Are we worried, Zoom Test Kitchen community?
I think
I
I'm
have
going
to
be
run
one-upped.
upstairs, and I'll be back in a moment.
Oh,
I'm going to be one-upped.
yeah. Those are starting to look like balloons, John.
Yeah, I ran out of rockets.
Oh, you ran out?
Yeah,
Well, that's terrible. How'd you do that?
yeah. You don't think these effects are, not charged?
Oh, there we go. Oh, yeah.
I've only got balloons left.
Oh, yeah. Roland's getting cute too here now. Oh, look at that. He's finding all kinds of emojis. Everybody's finding the emojis.
I just searched for fireworks.
Oh, even Guy Cochran's giving us some fireworks on YouTube. Hello there, Guy Cochran. And we also have Mailman116 asking us a quick question before we wrap it up, guys. Seems Zoom has some months now, I guess that means for the last few months, changed webinar events pricing structures, getting over 100 users and not having to pay for the year. What do you guys think about that? So this, I think, is talking about is the pay-per attendees, Ray and John.
Well,
When it
they
comes
would
to
take the
paper
lower tiers
attendee,
of pay for
100
view out of the plans for a while.
Did you copy that into the chat, or
Oh, I can.
I'd
Yeah,
like to kind of read the full text.
sure.
Anyway,
Yeah.
I'm back. I'm sorry it took me a few minutes to unlock the safe.
Oh, there we go.
But,
Wow.
now, wait a minute. Oh, wait a minute. Sorry.
Guys.
I've got two of these.
Yeah, so send me $5,000 and I'll send you his address.
I don't know. Like 10 or 12 years ago, there was a guy that basically sells fake dollar bills, and they're, they don't have enough of the real stuff printed on them, but they look awfully real when you just kind of flash them in front of people. And I said, yeah, send me a batch of those. I can look at them and dream. So that's my $2 billion stacks.
These are real.
Yeah, I'm sorry, John. You'll spend those and they won't be in your pocket for very long. I know.
We already know. And his star got broken.
These will be with me forever.
Yeah, because you can't get the change out of anybody. I know.
Yeah, I was going to say either that or we won't see Ray ever again. One of the two, you know.
How many
trying to cash one of those in.
$250 bills do I get for one of these?
Not many.
Yeah.
About 6, I think. Do you want me to send them now?
Give or take. Very cool. So again, just yeah. So I put the question in chat for you, Ray, so that you could look at it and give me a better thought of this. Looks like Rion, and if this is the Rion that I know, this is Rion from Trinidad and Tobago, Roland.
Oh, Caribbean.
Someone's now
Yeah.
First, they're getting over 100 users. I'm going to pay for the year. So I'm not entirely sure that he's mailman, probably a he.
Yeah, it's Rion. His name is Rion.
Okay. Talking about PPA or not, because I know you used to not be able to get 100 user subscription license without it being annual. And now you can get the 100. Huh?
I've just checked. The minimum paper attendee you can get is 600.
But can't you now get a 100 subscription license monthly?
Depends where you
Yes.
live, though,
Yes,
too, right?
yes.
Zoom doesn't always have the same products in the stores around the world, right?
Yeah, but the 100 monthly subscription is available again.
Yeah. And again, if you're from Trinidad or Roland in Jamaica, both of you are buying from US.
That's correct.
That is correct. Yeah.
It's just we've seen many times that at certain times of the year, some product from Zoom isn't available or the pricing is different depending where you are regionally, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Some
we
of the
had
things
that all
they
the time.
roll out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also had that when the business accounts, all of a sudden you had to be X amount and we could actually get it down to 1 now. And we had that before the
However-
States did. Oh, however,
However, I have a however for you. However, according to my order form for the UK, the paper attendee is only available for Webinars Plus.
ooh, Well, you get a hub.
but it's not available in webinars,
Regular webinar.
regular webinars. Only paper attendees on Webinar Plus. On webinars, plain webinars, you can only monthly subscribe 300 or 500. And there seems to be no paper attendee anymore.
Interesting. Oh, go ahead, Ray.
He's having a look now.
So yeah, here's the Zoom events, and you can get the monthly subscription for 100. You can get the annual subscription for 100, 500, 1,000, 3,000 and more. You need to contact them. And here are the pay per attendee prices as well. And so that's events. And then over here on Webinars Plus, you can also get 100 monthly subscription, and that is $99 a month. And you can have up to 100 people in as many webinars as you want, non-concurrent.
But what about the minimum for webinars on its own?
Webinars 500. You can't get anything less than 5. Yeah, I guess you can get 300. 66, 67. So if you just want webinars without all the bells and whistles, you can get a 300 license for, 2/3 of $100 bill a month.
Right. And just for my sake, Ray and John, again, Webinar Plus, you can't get for everything that we showed today earlier, a production studio, just for people that are joining us late. Anything production studio must be Webinars Plus, correct?
Well, Webinars Plus or events.
Or events.
Yeah.
But the minimum is Webinar Plus, not webinars.
Correct. You don't get anything special for webinars other than webinars. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There's a reason that they called it plus, and that's one of the pluses.
Well, there's the business, workplace. There's the business plus workplace, which includes phones and a couple of other things, scheduling and email and some other things that don't, I think, happen at the regular business level, or maybe it's just the phones that's additional. But yeah, I think, well, what did I do?
There he is. There you go. You crossfaded nice. There we go.
I've redone my stream deck so that I can get sort of the screen share and my circle bubble and all that sort of stuff. I've had that capability for a while, but the buttons were like way over on another panel, and I moved everything where I can touch them with one hand now.
Right. So Rion has a couple of extra additional questions, and we'll do them quickly here. Maybe I phrased my question wrong. If you grow to 100 visitors, the cost jumps exponentially. And he was saying it's $250 per month, but billed as an annual cost. So that's a huge investment.
Correct.
And for the 500 Web Plus, and especially for the 500 Web Plus, so that's Webinar Plus, I guess, is what he's meaning.
Yeah, and I talk to clients kind of all the time, and sometimes they're not even my clients; they're my colleagues' clients. About what are you planning on doing in the next 12 months? Can you tell me what you're planning on doing and how many people will come? Well, I'm going to have this one big thing, but that's 6 months from now. Right now, I'm going to have 3 or 4 like 100-member meetings, webinars, maybe 150. But then 6 months from now, we're going to have this, like maybe 1,000, 1,200 people. And, I look at that annual subscription, and that price, you're right, is, 2 arms and 2 legs. And it's a lot of money for that. But if you go to the pay per attendee and figure out, if I buy enough of these pay per attendee tickets, I can probably get it for maybe 1/3 of that cost, maybe a little less, because the good news is we all know people, clients that we've talked to, and they go, how many people are going to have? Well, we're going to have 150 people, and 120 show up. With a paper attendee license, if you market the heck out of it and you're expecting to have that many people, but you get the paper attendee tickets to cover you for 6 months to a year, and only 120 people come to the first event, you still have those tickets that if your $1,200 event all of a sudden turned in, or 1,200 people event all of a sudden turned into 1,300 people, you've got extra tickets available and it's no big deal. With a subscription price, if you've got a 100-person limit, the 101st person can't get in. It's just, the answer is no. You would have to upgrade your entire thing for an entire year, pay the difference between now and your annual date, and all of that difference, lots of money. And so most of my clients that are doing one-off types of events are using the paper attendee pricing.
Right. John, any other additional thoughts? No is okay. I know Ray did probably a good job. I'm just making sure that everything was cool. And I'm also prepping to wrap up the show as well. And I got nods from everybody that nobody wants to talk anymore. All right, Roland, anything else before we wrap this up?
Not at this time. I'm muted.
Yeah, I heard you. You're good.
You weren't muted at this time.
Oh, you muted me, John.
Oh, goodness. All right. Yes. Yes. Everybody saw me go black there for momentarily because I'm setting everything up to make sure that it's time for that time of the show where and I promise not to blast everybody's ears off.
Can we have a weather report first, please?
Would you like a weather report? I can do that.
Yeah. I'd like a weather report from Mexico City.
For which area?
A current weather report.
City.
Oh, for Mexico City. No, I was going to give you where
apparently there's a storm blowing in to Mexico City, and there's now a chance that the England game will be brought forward 6 hours.
Wow. Well,
so instead of waking up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch a game of football, we'll be watching it at
11 o'clock tonight. Is that
11 o'clock at night or something
It's
stupid.
not tonight. It's next week.
Yeah.
No, this is Sunday to Monday.
Cool. Cool. So everybody can see already that I've got the karaoke up, but a quick little update for me, for our friends in the US and for Ray. Officially, I'm 81 right now Fahrenheit, and that's not cool up here in Canada right now. 81 feels like 90 up here right now. At almost 7 o'clock Eastern. So the sun has gone down. So
that's your friend Hugh.
That's a friend. You?
Hugh. Yeah. Hugh Mid.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. our friend Hugh Mid. Yes. We do not like that H word. Yes. This is our humidex is outrageously horrible right now. Would be yes. Humidity officially right now, because John asked, is officially we're 79% humidity right now. So that's a lot. Yes. Warming centers, everything else is open in our infamous Ontario land. But on that note, I'm going to play a little different version of the Zoom Test Kitchen karaoke version to finish us up before the Independence Day break. The official version of this will be the folk version that was given to me.
Say live.
I'm not entirely sure if it does live or live, John, to be honest.
Well, listen in, folks. Let's see.
That's right. Let's find out. Enjoy, everybody. I want to hear you.
Welcome to the Zoom Test Kitchen, where the magic happens live. Every Friday we're on air, testing tech to thrive. From screen share to breakout rooms, we push Zoom to its max. So sit back, relax, and let's see what's in our tech hacks. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. We'll dive into the settings, explore every single tab. Make sure your mic is clear, your camera not a drab. We'll show you how to host like a pro, manage like a king. With Zoom Test Kitchen, you'll be zooming with a zing. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. Whether you're new to Zoom or an expert in disguise, we've got tips and tricks, we'll open up your eyes. From polls to quizzes, we test functionalities. Join us live, see what Zoom does with ease. So if your meetings lag or you can't share your screen, or if your audio echoes like you're stuck in between, we've got solutions, we'll show you how it's done. Zoom Test Kitchen, where Zoom fun has begun. Zooming in, we're testing it all. Live on YouTube each week. From audio to video, no feature we won't tweak. We're the Zoom Test Kitchen crew, here to innovate. Join the fun, learn the tech, don't be late. So tune in, don't miss out on this tech fest we lead. Every Friday, Zoom Test Kitchen, where you'll succeed. We'll make your Zoom meeting smooth, keep the tech in check. In the Zoom Test Kitchen, we got your back, no red. These lyrics capture the essence of what the Zoom Test Kitchen does, focusing on testing and teaching about Zoom functionalities in a fun, engaging way.
All right, that wasn't a bad version. I like that one too. That's cool. Thanks everyone for joining us this week on the Independence Day version of the Zoom Test Kitchen. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel to let YouTube know, and of course that also lets Zoom know how much you love our content. Don't forget, we're here every Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern, 12 p.m. Pacific, and check your local time zones to match up with those times. See everyone next week for another edition of the Zoom Test Kitchen. And to all our American friends in the States, stay safe and have a great Independence Day. Take care, everyone, on YouTube.